All right, I'd like to open up our city council meeting for Monday, June 17th, 2024. Let us please stand for the pledge of allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us prepare ourselves as you see fit. Most gracious and heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you this day to say thank you, O Father God. We thank you for all the many blessings that you give us, O Lord. We thank you for allowing this city council meeting to come to represent the city of North Chicago and do things decent and in order. I know there's a lot of people traveling right now in vacations and taking different directions. We ask that you continue to keep them safe and in your arms. Lord, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for continuing to watch over us. This we say in your darling son Jesus' name and for his sake. Amen. Roll call.
Alderman Jackson.
Present.
Alderman Coleman. Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen. Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy. Present. Alderman January.
Okay, let the record show that Alderman Allen did call and said he was not going to be able to attend this meeting. And then Alderman Coleman did also send email that he would probably be up on Zoom. I'm not sure if he's made it there or not. Okay, until that time, we will continue moving forward. So with that, we have the omnibus vote agenda, but would like to remove 5-3 at this time. Is there a motion and a second to have 5-3 removed from the agenda?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Jackson, second by Alderman Evans, that 5-3 be removed at this time. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Jackson.
Aye.
Alderman Coleman. Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy. Aye.
Motion carried. With that, the omnibus vote agenda. Can we have a
Mayor
motion?
Raquel,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to approve the omnibus vote agenda as presented. Without 5-3.
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Murphy, that the omnibus vote agenda be passed as presented. Are there questions on the omnibus vote agenda?
I have a correction, please.
All right.
On the minutes, it says that the date for the minutes is May 20th. It should say June 3rd.
Okay. All right. Any other changes? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy. Aye. Alderman January. Jackson, sorry. The other J.
The other J.
Aye.
Motion carried. Public comments? Anything under?
Thank you. Shelley Murray.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just one question. As far as like the noise ordinance, can I get like some sort of like clarification, like what time is it? Should there be like, if you're gonna have like a little party or get together, should you be notifying, like get a permit?
actually-
or ask like how late you can play your music, that sort of stuff, because there's just so much misconception.
Chief, would you like to respond to that?
Yes. Could you come to the microphone?
Chief, could you come to the microphone?
They can't hear on Zoom. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're fine, ma'am.
The noise ordinance, along with all the other ordinances, are posted in the city website. So if you go there, you can see it. There is no time on it.
So if you
As
have
long
a,
as the noise is bothering you, you can call.
You should
go ahead, attorney.
look for Title VI, Chapter 11.
And while that up, is there anything in specifically that it kind of responds to?
just says that no person is allowed to make unreasonably loud and raucous noise, which tends to annoy, injure, or endanger the public health and safety.
So basically, as the chief said, anytime, if it's. I think basically also it says there's a certain decibel that, other people can hear, then, it's something that can be addressed. Right, exactly. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Sure.
Hello. I have like 5 different things, but my first issue, I did talk to Alderman Jackson about this. I have a rooster on the block. And it's annoying, and I don't think we're supposed to have roosters, are we?
No,
Okay, I just want to make sure. So I did file a complaint.
okay,
I did my part. So how long does it take for you guys to do your part?
we will send, is that under code enforcement?
It's already been addressed as far as.
Oh, your mic, turn your mic on.
The situation has been turned over to the chief of staff to do follow-up, and I have indicated, or it was indicated to me that there will be follow-up done on it. There was no timeline as far as when it be done, but it is known by the city that is a problem, along with some other matters in the ward that we need to have addressed.
Okay, let us do a follow-up on that and we will, do we have your contact information?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
We will make sure that you're contacted and get a response on when it will be taken care
Okay.
of. Okay.
I happened to be on social media and I saw that Alderman Coleman posted something about in Ward 2, they have some type of program for people who need like things, yard work done or things done to their minor things to their home. I asked him about it. Is this just his ward? Does this qualify for other wards? He told me he would get back to me and let me know. Then he did. And he was like, you need to contact your alderman. He said everybody should be doing it. And
What is it?
if you, yeah, like, if you need like minor things done in your home, of course, he ain't here today to address it, but I was just trying to figure out, is this something that's available to all wards or is it just?
I
for
was
one?
not aware of anything such as a I mean,
Is he trying to connect people who can offer help with people who need help?
No, it's supposed to be a free service. He had something about 3 slots left.
But who's doing the work?
I
you
don't
know?
know. I don't know. I don't know.
If I may, I believe that might be what Kingston Neal talked about with the Habitat for Humanity was looking to do some projects.
from Youth Bill?
From Youth Build, I'm sorry, Youth Build, thank you,
Youth
sir.
Build,
Yeah,
okay.
that might have been Youth Build, and they're supposed to be doing something up until this week is my understanding.
Okay.
So that might be the program that they're talking about.
I don't know. We have the post.
So,
Who-
but outside of that, I'm not aware of any program. am
I
aware of
believe it
Youth
is
Build.
through Youth Bill. You're right. That that program was what you're speaking of.
So this is not available to all wards.
It's available to,
Yes.
yes, it is.
So how do we find out about it to sign up for it, to see if we qualify for it?
I can get you the number to Youth
Miss-
Build.
Mr. Mayor,
That program, yeah.
I think that's Alderman Coleman, but we're gonna have to, Alderman Coleman,
yes, sir, I'm having technically with my batteries. I will be logging in, so if you want to address this question as soon as I get voted in, that'd be great. But just give me 1 second, I gotta log my, get my electronic equipment working.
Okay, we'll come back to it,
All right, thank you so much.
if that's okay with you.
Yes,
Okay.
please, thank you.
My other issue is the sidewalks in North Chicago. Are they planning on working on the sidewalks or putting in sidewalks anytime soon?
We did have a program for that and you have to basically sign up for it. You get into on a list. We allocate so many dollars per year to do sidewalks, to do repairs of sidewalks.
Okay,
And so once you sign up, you may not be on that year, but you can get into that cycle to have your sidewalk repaired. And then you would have to see our Public Works Department to get on that list,
okay.
okay?
I wanted to know about are there any grants available for homeowners who have, like I have major work that needs to be done plumbing wise that goes all the way out to the street. And they're quoting me like $20,000 and I'm like, other cities offer grants. Does North Chicago have any type of grants for that?
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay,
unless any of the staff is aware of anything, but not that I'm aware of to have anything like that done.
Can you come to the microphone, please? Can you come to the microphone?
Come to the mic.
They
Wanda.
can't hear you.
So I was gonna say that there's a Affordable Housing Coalition, I think it is, AHC of Lake County. They have grant programs.
what is it called?
AHC. It's Taylor, it's actually, I know you guys have it in your office
Yeah,
normally.
it's the Community Partners for Affordable Housing, CPA, CPAH.
Deepa, okay.
They do some programming, there are some qualification requirements, but yeah, absolutely check them out.
Okay, thank you.
And the number for youth build,
I'm ready.
847-473-3483.
Okay, and my last question is, I don't know, this probably, you guys probably have addressed this before, but I wasn't here, of course. I'm just trying to figure out what is the plan for like all these abandoned buildings, the schools that got Novak Kings just sitting there and Hart schools just in there. Is there a plan for those?
That is through the school district, District 187, which you could go to their meetings to find that out. I know Lindbergh has just been taken down. My understanding is Hart School is a building at some point they would like to renovate and possibly bring something else. And then Novak King, I'm not aware of what they're offering in that, for that,
Okay,
okay?
that's all my questions, and Coleman, whenever he gets his electronics working.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Coleman, has he came back yet?
Not that I'm aware of. Alderman Coleman, are you ready?
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Alderman Coleman, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay. At this time,
All right.
I'd like to have a motion to accept Alderman Coleman to come in for the city council meeting.
So moved.
It's
Second.
been moved by Alderman Jackson, second by Alderman Evans, that to allow Alderman Coleman to come into the city council meeting. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Smith. Alderman Murphy. Aye. Alderman Jackson.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Motion carried. At this time, let the record show that Alderman Coleman is coming into the meeting at 6:16. Alderman Coleman, did you want to address that question?
Yes, absolutely. Youth Build reached out to that program. Youth Build reached out to the alderman, Kingston Neal, and he asked us to get some residents that were interested in handiwork for the youth, for the children. And
Okay.
so I put it on my social media to reach out to anyone in the second ward that was interested. And if they're interested, I am referring them directly to Youth Build. And that is not a city-sponsored program. I was just playing the middleman. And as far as my understanding, that there were other aldermen that were also participating and trying to connect some of the residents with youth build. So I don't want to speak for the other aldermen, but I do know that, you know, some of the aldermen are participating for sure. I think a majority of the aldermen, Kingston Neal has reached out to.
Okay,
So
and and I did pass on Youth Build's phone number to the resident.
yes, and that's what I'm doing as well. I'm passing on, Kingston is actually heading the program. So if you want to reach out to Kingston, and he's the one that's approving the projects or not approving the projects. I'm just, you know, forwarding the information on.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Also be aware that that was supposed to start this week, so they want to
Okay.
get on it,
So
as
you,
soon as possible.
so ma'am, if you want to make a call in the morning to see if you can still get into that program. All right, all right. All right, regular agenda 7-1, consideration and slash approval of amending Title 8, Chapter 13, Section 8A20, reducing the maximum number of Class GP licenses from 30 to 29 and amending Title 8, Chapter 13, Section 8A15, increasing maximum number of Class A special license from 9 to 10.
Mayor Rakim,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to approve of amending Title 8, Chapter 13, Section 8A20, reducing the maximum number of Class GP licenses from 30 to 29 and amending Title 8, Chapter 13, Section 8-8-15, increasing maximum number of Class A special licenses from 9 to 10 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Murphy, that 7-1 be passed as presented. Are there questions?
I believe as Chief of Staff wants
Chief
to
of Staff?
address it.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Class A special license authorized the retail of sale on the premises of a restaurant of alcoholic liquor for consumption on said premises. The said restaurant must serve complete meals that are detailed in 8-13-1 of the chapter. And food sales must comprise at least 51% of the total revenue of the license holder. In the city of North Chicago, we have 4 restaurants that are already licensed with a Class A special license that meet this requirement. There is one other, and that is Full Moon, excuse me. And Full Moon would like to go from a GP license to a Class A master, or I'm sorry, Class A special. The one thing I would point out is Class A special is a clear definition. It's 51% of food sales, and the experience is more of dining than it is alcohol or gaming. The other restaurants that already have this, and I would argue that this is probably a short list and a list that's actually true to what the makeup of our food services in the city of North Chicago. Flanagan's Restaurant, Toby's Tavern and Grill, 1119 Kitchen, and Mistres Tesaros, which is on MLK. Full Moon has been operating with a GP license. They would just like the same opportunity that the other businesses who have like service can meet 51% threshold to be able to go to a Class A special and then relinquish their GP license.
Okay. All right.
So
Attorney?
do they expect to have their liquor license application completely reviewed and finished before the next regular council meeting?
The license application is complete. I'm not sure if it was passed on to the mayor or not yet. But it's not in the package today, I don't believe.
This is for Full Moon, right?
Yeah.
So the only reason I ask is because it's on the committee meeting agenda too.
It's on the direction that staff put that, or from the clerk's office was to put that on the agenda to waive first reading so it could be approved by council tonight.
Right,
It's on the committee of the whole agenda.
right.
So,
Be
so
waived.
the ordinance changing the number of licenses is on the council agenda. The action related to full moon specifically is not on the council agenda. It's only on the committee of the whole agenda.
And it should have been on both.
So the increase has to happen first, correct?
They can happen contemporaneously. We usually do it all at one action.
Can we amend the agenda by vote to reflect?
I mean, the council doesn't issue licenses.
I know, it's the liquor
council
commissioner.
changes the number of licenses. So I just
Right.
want to make sure that when we're making a license available, Full Moon is first in line, so it doesn't go
Yep.
somewhere else accidentally.
No,
I understand.
absolutely.
Right.
Specific.
Right.
You're just changing the number.
Right, yeah.
So as long as they're ready to get it issued,
Yeah, they are.
then they'll be the one to take the one that becomes available.
They are definitely ready.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Does council understand what you're saying?
So the question is, to me, is why can't we just wait till the next council meeting and get this corrected before
Well,
we
there's
vote on
no-
it?
There is no
Nothing to
correction.
correct.
Well, we didn't go through committee first. We didn't go through the committee first on this.
That's what we're saying. we're
So
waiting.
there is something to correct, because we were supposed to go through the committee first.
So I understand what you're asking. So this is an ordinance that you're considering, and the ordinance hasn't been presented at a committee meeting first.
Okay.
So you can ask for a motion to waive the first reading on the ordinance changing the number of licenses.
It ain't that important. The full moon could wait. I mean, because now if we do it, what we're gonna do is mess up the licenses that we're giving. So we're approving something that's not even in existence right now.
Well, no,
No,
not exactly, Alderman, because what usually happens is when, even though a business comes in asking for a liquor license, and we know they're coming in to ask for that license, we're not specifically saying it goes to them. We're asking to increase the number
Right.
of number of license available. And usually when that business comes in asking for that license, we're not granting it directly to them, though they're coming in asking for it. All we can do is increase the number. That's why we tell anybody that comes in and asks for it, next day you better put your request in, because now that increase has been increased, anybody can come in and ask for that license. So that we do on our side is just ask to have that number increased.
The ultimate,
You follow what I'm saying?
So from what I read, it says reducing the maximum number of Class GP license from 30 to 29.
Right,
So you're reducing one.
right. We're taking one away to add another one up.
Right, but we're still taking one away from the
So-
liquor that we have.
So, and again, if this was to be passed, if this was to be passed, it really only applies to the full moon anyway, because they're the only one that has
application
An
for
application
Class
to
A special.
to have a Class A special and has a GP license to be revoked or
Right.
to come down.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? Cause
We're-
they have to apply, give up their GP license in order to get the
so
special
who's
use.
gonna get that license? That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's why it's being reduced.
It doesn't exist
It
anymore.
won't resist, yeah, it won't.
So if somebody else wanted to come in for a GP license, Alderman,
Right.
we would come back before council again and say we
So
want to
we
raise
have
it from.
an extra one.
I'm sorry. No, there is not an extra one.
Cause we're reducing it by one.
Right.
So
The
why,
G-
why are we reducing it?
Because they have one they won't
Full
be
Moon
using.
wants to forfeit theirs.
Okay,
So that's why we need to remove one.
okay, you're gonna remove theirs.
Yeah.
Where's that gonna go?
Doesn't exist.
Anymore.
Nobody can come in, we're reducing it, so
It dissolves.
it just, it goes away.
And that's every liquor license. So if somebody goes out of business, that liquor license is gone. And if somebody new comes in, they do what we're doing right now and ask for an increase in the number.
Okay,
And then once that ordinance is adopted, then the liquor commissioner issues the license at that point.
All righty.
Okay.
So we need a motion to waive the first reading on item 7-1.
So moved.
Been moved by Alderman Murphy, second by Alderman January to waive the first reading of the request. Correct? Okay. Do that have to be roll call or question? Any question? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Murphy. Aye. Alderman January.
No.
Alderman Jackson.
No.
Alderman Coleman.
No.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Smith. 3-3.
Motion failed.
No, it doesn't matter. Because you need 2/3 to waive the first reading.
Okay. So it failed. Correct? Could you have 2/3?
Yes.
You saying? Okay. So so at this point, this does not move forward. Correct?
The waiving of the first reading doesn't move forward, so it has to go back on the agenda.
Back on the agenda.
This will count as the first reading, so it'll be on this next agenda for second reading.
Okay? All right.
Also in committee already. Right?
The waive on the first reading was in committee.
That was supposed to be a committee.
Well, that's what we were trying to waive the first reading and be presented now that the request from Full Moon was asking to move this forward. So, but it wasn't, so it was denied, so they have to go back through the reading. Okay?
It'll be eligible to be approved
July
at
1.
the next meeting, July 1st,
Okay.
But how?
because this is the first reading.
You guys they just voted on it.
But you didn't waive a first reading. This is being presented to you.
See, that's why I said we should have waited, because
Right.
see now.
Well, it is waiting now, because
Yeah.
now it's gonna have to be back on July
gonna-
1st before it can be.
But you able to
voted
put
on.
it back on the agenda. See, but once it failed, it should be one of the people that
No,
said no
it's
to
not
it.
a reconsideration. Ordinances normally require 2 presentations. One can be at a committee and one can be at a council, or you can have both at a council. But there was a request to waive the first reading so it could be taken final action on right now. That failed, so this only counts as the first presentation. Then at the next meeting will be the second presentation.
Okay,
Alderman January.
Okay, Mary, you just made a statement that there was a request by a business in our city to move this forward, but this is not dealing with one entity. This is about an ordinance.
And the ordinance was, as this was written, to remove a GP license,
Uh-huh.
take it from 30 to 29, and then to increase the special Class A license from 9 to 10. The Full Moon Restaurant is what we're speaking of, has a GP license. And they want to take their GP license and remove it and get a special use for the Class A license. So we were reducing the GP license by 1 and increasing the Class A by 1, so that the Full Moon can remove their GP license and get a Class A license.
Okay, can you refresh my memory? What's a Class A special license?
Class A special license allows for wine, beer, and alcohol, but 51%.
Sorry, I didn't mean for you to.
Oh, I'm
answer.
sorry.
I wanted our liquor commissioner to answer.
And
Thank you.
as Greg was just, our chief of staff was stating, Class A special license means that if a restaurant has 51% of their business is through food, then they can have a Class A license which sells alcohol, not just beer and wine, but also
Hard liquor.
hard liquor. And because they would be a restaurant such as that, they could still have gaming. Cause now they're selling hard liquor. And they don't need a GP, cause GP only allows for beer and wine. Okay?
Mhm. Got it. Thank
So
you.
that's why they're wishing to remove their GP license, because they can still have gaming through the special, because now they're selling hard liquor. Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Coleman.
All right. I just, for a point of clarity, so I understand, I voted no to the process. So, to my understanding, just make sure I'm clear with the attorney. At the next meeting, that we'll vote on it, and then at that time, they can get it at that time
If it passes.
if it passes. Okay, all right. I think Full Moon's been around long enough that, they've been a business in our community, supporting our community for a very, very long time. And just my general consensus, I don't know if we're talking about this do we discuss it at committee now, or because it failed, do we still discuss this at committee?
I'll refer to the attorney on that one.
It can come back to the next council meeting for the second reading.
For,
For a
correct,
vote.
but are we
For a
still
vote.
just,
It'll
Are
be,
we-
it is eligible for a final vote at the July 1st city council meeting. It
Okay.
should be, yeah.
all right, so at the next council meeting, it will come up to a final vote, and at that time, if it passes, then they can have their liquor license at that point.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions? Okay. Move on to 7-2, city bills.
In Alderman Allen's absence as Vice Chair of Finance, I move that we approve the payment of the city bills in the amount of $815,386.54 when funds are available.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Murphy, second by Alderman Evans, that the city bills be paid as presented. Are there questions? Alderman January. Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't even raise my hand yet. I was trying to give everyone else a chance.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions? Alderman January.
Thank you. There's my favorite comptroller.
Good evening, how are you,
I'm
ma'am?
good. It's Monday.
It is.
Running in here after seeing a page. Anyways, do we have sufficient funds to cover this bill run, and when will the checks be cut and sent?
We do have sufficient funds to cover this bill run, and the checks will be cut tomorrow, and then we're gonna put them in the mail tomorrow because the holiday is on Wednesday. So we're gonna get them out by the end of the day. I just don't know what day, when it's gonna get it in there, but we'll put it in by the end of the day
Okay.
on Tuesday.
And then how much is in the water fund as of, I believe, Thursday, end of business?
Mhm.
day?
So it's $7,217,647.59.
I'm sorry, say that again, seven.
$7,217,647.59. And that's prior to the bills being cut.
And this is all liquid, the 7.2?
Yes, this is all liquid. This does not include the investment funds.
And what's in the investment?
$1,434,127.81 that is not liquid. Just for clarification, that's as of the market closing today.
That's for today.
Today, correct.
And then, Fun, I'm gonna have to sit down with you sometime. I'd like to see, a rundown of the revenue and the expenditure coming out of the water fund for like the last month.
Okay,
Okay? So I'll send you an email about that.
sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully we can catch up with each other. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman January,
No,
Alderman Jackson,
Aye.
Alderman Evans,
Aye.
I'm sorry, Alderman Coleman. I
Aye.
apologize.
Aye.
Alderman Evans. Alderman Evans, I'm
Aye.
sorry. Okay, Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carried. Miscellaneous business, anything under miscellaneous? We got our chief of staff coming up.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we're having a little bit of difficulty prioritizing some of the projects that are going on, especially aldermanic requests for various things such as grass cutting and tree trimming and overall code enforcement, public works functions. In order for us to effectively line up our schedules of work and based on given days and times, I'm requesting that the aldermen, and most of the aldermen do it already, but I'm requesting that the aldermen send any requests through my office so I can make sure they're prioritized properly with other items, both in code enforcement and public works. So just drop me an email, and Alderman Jackson and I do that on a regular basis. Alderman Evans and I do that on a regular basis. So to have the staff pulled in 6 different directions with different priorities, you know, especially if we've got projects that are funded for capital improvements and things like that, we want to make sure everybody's on task. But we also have a strategic approach to how we want to make sure we clean up certain areas of the city and spend our attention on those areas. And if there's any question or concern regarding sending that information to me, and you want to make sure you copy the respective committee chair, please do. But I would ask that from the aldermanic or from the sitting alderman. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to address Mr. Jackson.
Sure, Alderman, go right ahead.
Mr. Jackson, you forgot to include my name. I try to go through you as much as possible as well. I haven't reached out to anyone. With that being said, I reached out to Alderman, I reached out to the Chief of Staff, I think a couple days ago, for some public work request on Sheridan Road. He was very helpful. Him and the Public Works Chair was not available at the time. So the Vice Chair showed up, and I just want to thank the Chief of Staff for handling my requests that I sent to him effectively and efficiently. And I think it's a great idea to go through the chief because we have a good chief that's on top of things. So you just forgot my name, Chief. So
I didn't forget it was 91 degrees, Alderman.
Oh, okay. So I just want to put that out there that I do agree with that policy because the chief he's on point. He's handling his business. So I just want to thank you again, Chief, for coming out there in 91-degree weather and walking the beat with me. And I just appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman.
All right. Being no other business, I again like to let council be aware that I will be out at our next July council meeting. I'm sure you will pick a person to represent and direct the meeting. So I will be out on vacation, but I will be available by phone or email or however you wish to get in contact with me. So, all right. No other business. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Smith, that the city council stand adjourned. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right.
One second.
The Human Resources Committee meeting, if there are questions that you have, for the department head or anything regarding the Human Resources Department monthly report, please let me know and I can open the committee meeting. If not, you've all had a chance to review the report in your packets and we would just move on to the next committee. Any questions? Okay, thanks very much.
I'd like to open up the Building License Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jackson,
Present.
Alderman Coleman. Alderman
Aye.
Coleman. Okay,
Aye.
thank you. Alderman Allen, Alderman Smith. Alderman Murphy,
Present?
Alderman January.
Present. I have one line agenda. It's discussion of a special event. Guns Down Community Barbecue. This will be hosted by A Safe Place organization. Looks like they're from Zion. Excuse me,
You want some water?
if you have some, please. It'll be on the corner of 18th Street and Sheridan Road on June 28th from 3 to 6. It's free to the public and they're just looking to have the community involved in a barbecue and to reduce violence and bring the community together. So like I said, it's a free event. Looks like everything's in order. Is there any questions from any of the aldermen? Any comments? Is the organizer here and would like to speak? Okay. All right, so again, this June 28th from 3 to 6 at the corner of 18th Street and Sheridan. Thank you. They also left off my usual, yeah, any pending matters for building and license.
Mrs. Chairman,
Yes.
I don't know if you're in contact with that organization. I love the fact that 18th and Sheridan Road is available to everybody in the community to host events. I just want to make sure that they clean up after themselves. We've hosted a couple events over there and we're working really hard to kind of make sure Sheridan Road is clean. So just out of curiosity, is there a cleanup fee if necessary? After someone does a parade, let's say we have to go up at Public Works and clean up. Is there something in the permit process that says, okay, we can fine them $250 for not cleaning up or something? And then have our Public Works go out there and clean it up?
I am not aware of anything, but our chief of staff has stepped forward to hopefully provide an answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alderman, yes, there is. I'll use most recently Fiesta Patrias that we did last year. We had the parade, we had the festival inside over by Foss Park and by the community center. And we charged for police services, we charged for public work services, and then anything that comes after the fact, we would charge for that as well. So it's all part of the agreement we go into on the larger special events.
Okay.
Are they aware, Safe Place, are they aware that there could be a charge if they don't clean up?
To be honest, I didn't process the application, so I would have to check with staff on that, Alderman, to
Okay.
see if that communication happened. I would think since it's a normal course of business, it does, but I don't want to give you a definitive answer without checking.
Okay.
Chairwoman,
Yes.
next time we review the application, we might include an agreement paragraph that just says that they, by filing the application, they agree to comply with that requirement.
We did that, I'm not sure if it was you or David put together a letter with defining that with, Fiesta Patrias.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea on the application to have something that has that little statement that there would be a charge if there is anything left.
we can,
For us to-
we can amend the application, certainly.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then
And
maybe,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I apologize, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
If we can, like put it in red with a special note at the bottom or something, cleanup charges, because I know what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is there a deposit that's put down for cleanup? Because if after they have the event,
We did.
okay, so it's a $250 deposit for cleanup, and if you clean it up, then you get your money back. That's in every ward or every, okay,
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we took, I was just making sure my memory served me. We did, with Fiesta Patrias, we did take a deposit ahead of time.
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
I think we need to put that on the application though, because it's not clear. So I agree with our city attorney that we need to have something clear on there about cleanup.
We'll amend the application, Alderman.
Okay, wonderful. And if you could bring it back through
Sure.
for us to take a look at, and we'll go from there. Mayor, was there anything you wanted to add? I thought I saw your hand.
I think that's proper.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Madam Clerk, could you call this person, Patricia Theodore, and, let her know about the cleanup?
We'll work, yeah,
You'll send me
we'll
the
work with
letter?
your office and, Tawanda's office.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Madam
All right.
Chair,
Yes.
quick question, is the street being blocked off or anything?
They have not asked to have it blocked off.
Cause on that corner, that's what I was wondering.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I believe the last time, I hosted an event there on Sheridan Road, there was an issue blocking that particular road off Sheridan Road first because it was a county road. And it's kind of, dangerous to actually block that road off. And I was under the impression that the police department, they could maybe put something up like they did with the football team, please slow down with the little speed thing there. I believe we have one of those in our toolbox. Where it says slow down or cautious, people are working those portable signs. I think that's the best that we could do, on Sheridan Road. So just information.
Chief? Do we have anything available like that? I believe we do. Or is that Public Works?
If council recalls, this is the second event that Safe Place is having there this year. They do not go on the road. They use the empty field.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure
Okay.
everybody's safe. I don't
Yep.
want any
And we usually stop by there anyway, but.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none. I'd like to close the Building License Committee meeting,
So moved. Second.
moved by Alderman
Smith.
Smith, I'm sorry, guys, and seconded by Alderman Jackson. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jackson.
Aye.
Alderman Coleman.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
I'd like to open up the Public Works Committee meeting, roll call.
Alderman Jackson.
Present.
Alderman Coleman.
Present.
Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen. Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy.
Present?
Alderman January.
Present.
All right, we're gonna start with the discussion to approve hair service agreement for existing equipment not to exceed 24,000. We're gonna have Bob.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Public Works is asking for permission to purchase without a bid, a service agreement for the Hawk equipment give you a little background on why we're asking for, to waiving the bid requirement. The hawk equipment that's at the water treatment plant has been down there, I've been told, actually, they phrased it, it's been down there forever. Don't think it's been there that long, but quite a few decades. There's not another company that makes that similar equipment. You all have just voted recently to upgrade and update the equipment that's down there. And each and every year, we have a service agreement with this company to come in and calibrate, make sure everything's working, includes parts and labor, and keep this equipment running. This equipment checks the chlorine levels, checks the turbidity, and checks the water quality for us. So I would ask that you move that to the full meeting for our next meeting. Are there any questions?
Question. Alderman Jackson.
Now, you said that there is no other company that does this?
There
particular
was
type of
another
service?
company that sold this similar equipment. They went out of business.
Okay, I just want to make sure we did our due diligence in trying to get the 3 bids that we need.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Coleman?
addressing this situation delicately but upfront, I'm not waiving no bidding processes. It's our job as aldermen to protect the taxpayers' money. And I believe that we should always have a bid process to make it fair. And if no one bids, then no one bids. If they're the only company that bids, then we approve them. But the same old story and waiving the bid, I'm not doing that anymore. I can't in good faith. So I can't waive any bids. But if you go out for a bid and they're the only company that bids, then I'll vote for them. That's just my take. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, Lori, put that on. The next item will be the discussion to approve Dom Mechanical Industries, Inc. to install 2 air compressors not to exceed 50,000.
I'm also asking for you all to waive the bid process on this one as well. And the reason being, we have had an ongoing relationship with a company called Atlas Copco. If you remember last summer when our water treatment plant flooded, much of that had to do with the fact that the air compressors quit functioning and the valves didn't close and the water filter beds all drained into the remaining portions of the plant. We have been looking over the last year to see what we can do to make sure that doesn't happen again. We called in Atlas Copco, the company that's been servicing and sold us our air compressors, and they haven't been able to rectify the problem. The problem is oil mist is getting into the system and making the valves inoperable. Dami Mechanical is a company that we've had a long-standing relationship at the plant with. We asked them to come in and diagnose. They found the problem. We have 4 air compressors at the water treatment plant. 2 of them run all the time. Apparently, those 2 from running all the time have degraded to the point where they're pumping oil into the air system in the plant. This is causing the valves to fail. The other 2 air compressors, for some reason, was never set up that the 2 would be intermittently used, and the other 2 are in reasonably good shape. What we're proposing to do is to replace the 2 that are old and putting oil in the system with 2 new compressors. We did ask the other company for price, was twice as much as the Dami price was. And in the interim, we also asked them if they would please come up with a system to safeguard and protect our water treatment plant so we don't have a flooding problem like we had before. So what we're proposing for that amount of money are 2 brand new air compressors, similar to the ones we have, and a fail-safe system to be put in the plant. So if the pressure drops below a certain amount, the other two compressors will kick in and give us a backup system. So we did look into it. This company has already instituted some changes in what we had to make our system sort of work. So this is kind of time is of the essence. If I have to go out for a bid, it's going to take several months. I'd rather not wait that long. This is very important. And I think we have a very reasonable price from a company. We also have had a experience with the other company to know that this is indeed a very reasonable price. So I'm asking for this also to be moved ahead for the full council.
Are there any, Alderman Smith?
Based on what you're saying, as far as reasonable price, what are you comparing that to? As far as price?
The price for the compressors was double what Dami quoted me from Atlas Copco.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman January?
Thank you.
Mike?
Thank you. I have two questions, actually. You made a comment, that the two air compressors that we would be purchasing brand new will be similar to what we have. If we already have two that are in decent condition and you're putting something in similar, are they gonna work well with each other, or are we gonna have further problems down the
Well, when
line?
I say similar, I mean, they're not the exact same brand. They're exact same CFM, the amount of air they put out, same motor, same amperage. So we're comparing basically apples to apples.
Okay.
It's just that they're just not the same brand. What I was told by the manufacturer is they're the exact same unit, but somebody else stamps their name on it. But as far as an air compressor, what it does, the motor brand that's on this compressor, exactly the same.
All right, thank you. And then my second question is, any conflict of interest that you're aware of with any of our staff with Dom Medical Industries?
Dami Mechanical, not that I'm aware of. As I said, as far as I know, we've had a long-standing relationship with Dami, meaning that they come in, they're familiar with the plant, they know how things operate. I don't believe there's any interconnection, if that's what you're talking about.
Correct.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Coleman?
all right. Same story, same dance. Listen, the bidding process is a legal process that makes sure that everybody has an opportunity to get the bid and that we protect the taxpayers' money and that there's no specialties shown to any company in particular. Last time I asked Steve, the engineer, if this process was bidded, and he proudly said, I don't come to the council without a bid. And he said that on the council floor to me when I asked him if it was bidded out. So I'm not quite sure why we have to continue because of urgency. It's a special company. I mean, it's the same story over and over where it's like I don't even know if it's legal at this point for us to waive every single bid. Like, I mean, we have to be more responsible and we have to show a little bit more transparency with the taxpayers' money. And so once again, I'm not waiving any more bids for you, Bob. If the sky's falling and if that's I don't understand why everyone else can bid, why the engineer department doesn't have a problem bidding out things, but for some reason, we have to waive every bidding process when it comes to the public works, Mr. Miller here. So once again, I just urge the alderman to understand that I don't want to hold anything up. Maybe we should start the bidding process a little bit earlier and kind of have a maintenance program so that we know that we're going to have to go out for bid instead of waiting till the last minute and waiving the bid process. So I just want to be transparent as an alderman with the taxpayers' money. I'm sorry. I can't waive any more bids for you, Bob, but I appreciate your effort. Thank you.
Duly noted. Thank you. And whenever we can partake in the bid process, we absolutely will.
Thank you, Bob.
It's not whenever. It's a legal thing. Mr. Attorney? Mr. Attorney,
I'm here.
can you please, for me, clarify the bidding process and why we need a bidding process and what's the reason why, we have to bid legally when we're spending money? Maybe you can explain it to me
It depends.
so I can have a better understanding. Do you recommend us waiving bids continually? Or do you recommend us going out for bid? What do you recommend?
I think every request has to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis based on its merits.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Right. Okay, Lori, put it on. Thank you, Bob.
I have one more item that
Okay.
I'd like to add to the water plant report. We were made aware last month that the testing that's done routinely at the plant by an EPA registered tester came up with a compound that showed up in our water. And I will basically tell you what that is. Let me find my note. It's diethyl hexyl pithiolate. This particular compound is tested annually by the EPA sanctioned testing agency that comes to us every quarter to test our water. On April 15th, that test came in at over the 0.0018 per microgram per liter amount allowed to be in the water. It's something that's always in there, but it was a little higher concentration than the EPA likes to see. It was 0.006 micrograms per liter over. A subsequent test on May 17th showed that we were then below the accepted EPA limit. So it was a one of. We're very pleased that it didn't show up again. What the EPA does when they notice that is they say, okay, you need to notify your residents and let them know. So we have put together a notification. I thank the attorney for his input. It's been put together for distribution this Thursday. It will be handed out by hand because it's too late to get it in the water bills. They went out first of the month. And if we wait until the next water bills go out, EPA gives us a window to get this out. The notification has to have certain components that the EPA delineates. So it has to have these things laid out. What we found, when we found it, how we're dealing with it, what we found in the future for testing, what we plan to do. So we have laid that out in our notification, but I wanted you all to be aware so that when this goes out Thursday, you're not blindsided by it. I want everybody to understand. We're very pleased that the tests show that it's clean now. We've also ordered a follow-up test of our raw water as well as our treated water to find out if this compound somehow made its way into the system within our building, or was it outside in the lake? As you know, we're undergoing a very extensive and expensive renovation down at the water treatment plant. Everything is being done to protect our water. There's plastic over all of the filter beds. Every precaution that we can do has been taken down there to protect our water supply. But we don't know if this particular compound might have been airborne, might have somehow found its way into the water on the day of that test. But we're happy to report now that that test is below the accepted limits. So I just want everybody to understand that this is out there. It did happen. We've had slight violations in the past. We need to notify everybody. If you all are contacted and you need to know any more about it, you could call myself or Cliff down at the water plant. we'd be more than happy to talk to anybody and allay their fears. They do not have to start drinking bottled water. To be honest with you, they'd have to drink this compound 500 times more every day for the next 10 years to have a detrimental effect. But it has been known in laboratory animals to cause cancer, so we have to take every precaution.
Alderman Chamber.
Quick question. Have you reached out to the other water plant municipalities to see how they're doing with this particular?
No one else tested recently, no one else
Recently,
tested
was there?
positive. And
Interesting.
going back to 2017, we haven't either. So we're looking back in our history, and as I said, I believe this is a one-off.
Okay, well, that's good to know that there was nothing.
Well,
the same
the
time
first
for
thing
the
I thought too, first of all, we want to know if it's in the raw water. Secondly, who else found it? You know, is it existing out there in other places? And right now, to the best of our survey, we haven't found anybody else who's experienced this problem. That doesn't mean it won't crop up. And we also don't know, you know, we have to take the water. We had a plan B. If by some reason the levels didn't go down, we have two intakes. We could have switched intakes, but taken it from the shallower one, taken it from the deeper one. I mean, we do have, what the EPA says is if you have a well, you might consider using a different one. We only have one lake. So we have to look at different ways to take that water in. And as I said, if needs be, we can look at other alternatives. Right now, we don't have to do that because subsequent tests have shown that we're below that limit. So I can assure everybody that we're doing everything in our power to make sure that whatever that was, doesn't make its way back in there again.
Alderman Jackson.
Question, Bob, you said there's a letter going out. I would like to recommend that letter gets sent to all the aldermen by email or whatever first.
Yes, I was planning on
so
doing
we
it.
can-
We just finished it today. So tomorrow you will get it before it goes out on Thursday.
Okay, because if I got people calling, I'd like
Absolutely.
to obviously have that information beforehand.
Right.
Then say, I don't know, because that's not the answer.
No,
residents
that's
want.
what I'm bringing up tonight. We'll absolutely make sure you have a copy of it.
Alderman Smith.
This discovery, was it accidental or was it discovered by a regular check that
A
we,
regular check.
by a regular check?
From what I understand, the EPA comes out and checks us quarterly. They check for this particular product annually. And so this was an annual check that they did for this. Now, because we tested a little bit over the limit that they like, they're now going to be testing for this particular compound quarterly for a year. I think 18 months actually. And then once we consistently stay low, we're back on the good guy list again.
One more question. In your personal opinion, do you feel that this might create a scare among the people?
Well, the reason that we took so much time in crafting the letter, and the mayor was insistent that we don't want to alarm people.
Yes.
But by law, we have to notify them.
Yes.
There's a fine line, because as I said, the EPA gives us a check sheet. Does it have this? Does it have that? And if all those components aren't in there, they reject our letter. So we took a lot of time to craft something that we felt would not cause chaos or panic.
Mayor, have
The
you seen the
fact that,
letter?
as I said, subsequent tests have shown that we're now below that limit, I feel comfortable. I would stand up here and drink the water. I feel comfortable drinking it.
Yes, I have read the letter. Matter of fact, he did just get it out to us this afternoon. I will say couple of things in regards to that. Like Bob said, we have to show them the letter before we even send it out. And it's gotta be acceptable to them that has all the things in it that he's mentioning. There will be questions, I'll say that. No matter how we craft a letter, And knowing that, even if it was, with 600 tenths, over, we have to put the letter out the way it is, so.
So we did all we possibly could to downplay it. But as I said, the reason they have their qualifications is because they don't want us to dismiss it.
And I guess my thing is, even though the word you just used, I wouldn't have used it, downplay it. But I just was making sure, cause I can hear the phone ringing now. Because we had a situation before, everybody said, "Oh, we got a boil order, we didn't have that," but people started talking, so I just wanted to make sure that, again, trying to make the citizens feel comfortable and us as city council be ready to handle the phone calls and that the letter, to the best of its ability, making the residents feel comfortable in it.
Well, I will get this out to you all first thing in the morning. If you have any questions at all, please call me. And I want you to feel comfortable with it too. But as I said, everything that needs to be in here is in here. And downplaying is really just a way of saying, not creating alarm. And that's what we're absolutely trying to do. It's a fine line between notification and panic, so.
Yeah. Chair,
Right here.
one more thing, we're not mailing them out. You said they're gonna be delivered. How is that gonna happen?
We are going to take some personnel from Public Works and from the water plant and hand deliver them. And the EPA is perfectly okay with that.
Okay, then, we got a big city, right? Have y'all really figured?
Oh, yeah.
Have y'all really figured out how everybody in the city is gonna get one of those within a day or two?
Well, we're gonna try to distribute them to every home, and some of them obviously won't be home, but they can stick them in a door or whatever it is, but we also put a paragraph in here that please share with your neighbors. If you're in an apartment, share with those neighbors. We've asked everybody to please make sure that we can proliferate this out as best we can. I didn't talk about it, but we certainly could put it on our website. There's other ways to get it out. But is it
Can we
absolutely
do the robocall
perfectly
for that?
acceptable way to get it out? And normally we would put it in the water bill. The only
Right.
reason we're not doing that is because we missed the timing of it.
Point taken, Alderman. What I'll do is, tomorrow I'll work with staff to see if we can do a special bulk mailing, that we don't have to wait for the water bill, falls in the timeline. And when we turn around and begin to look at, a cost benefit analysis of putting people on the street versus taking it by mail, we'll look at that. So we'll have that worked out tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
Bob, one question. You said that this started in April? When did it start?
When did they find it? In May.
Yes. It was
Or
fine.
April, they found it. May was the subsequent follow-up test.
Okay. What,
It was originally found in April,
it was found in April.
correct?
Is that in that letter?
Yeah, well, we never got this letter until 2 weeks ago, maybe. Takes a little while to go through the system.
Since we all gonna get it tomorrow, can you just make a
Oh,
copy?
you're gonna get a copy of this
Can you
tomorrow.
give it to us tonight before we leave?
Sure, I'll make copies of
Okay.
it and do that right now.
That'll work.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead, Alderman Coleman.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I want you to know that, you have my full support. Anything that needs to be done, to make sure that the people are safe. You're the leader of the city, you run the city. And you've got the most experience in situations like this, to not to cause a scare. So, if anyone reaches out to me, I'll refer them to the chief of staff. I know he handled the last crisis pretty well. And I just encourage all of the aldermen to stay united, and refer everything to the chief of staff and to the mayor's department, so we all speak on one accord and all in one voice. So
Thank you,
that's it.
Alderman. We will move forward with that. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
The next item is the discussion and review award of contract to Hair Construction for fiscal year 2025 sanitary sewer cleaning and televising project in an amount not to exceed $150,000 as is. We have Steve, engineer.
Good evening,
Good evening.
In front of you is a contract from Hair Construction for the fiscal year 25 cleaning. This project was originally bid out and for fiscal year 23. It included 3 one-year extensions, mutually agreeable, based upon the CPI as in March of each year. So we've updated the pricing, the unit pricing for the project, the dollar amount stays the same. Hair Construction is willing to proceed again for this one is sanitary sewer cleaning. And here to offer it in front of you and take any questions that you may have.
Any question? Okay, we'll go to the next item. Item 7, discussion, review, award of contract to Hair Construction for fiscal year 2025 storm sewer cleaning and televising project in amount not to exceed 150,000.
Here again, we bid out both the storm sewer and sanitary sewer cleaning projects roughly about the same time. Hair Construction happened to be the contractor who won them both. Same deal. We had a 3-year rider written into the original contract, where if it's mutually agreeable based upon the CPI that we can extend it for a maximum of 3 years. This would be the last one for them. And next year it'll go out for public bidding again. So with your approval, I'd like to move it forward for council approval.
Okay. And the last item is the discussion and review to approve pre-award IGA with Lake County SMC for the Lewis Avenue Detention Basin Phase 1 and Phase 2.
So this is an IGA. Was sent over to the city from Lake County SMC. As everyone is aware, the city received 5.5 million in DCOE funding that's going to be administered by SMC. And it's for the construction of the Lewis Avenue Detention Basin, which is why we purchased that property.
Yeah.
And it's also for helping the phase 2 portion is we're going to upgrade some of the piping to also help improve the flow of the current distribution system or collection system for the storm sewers in that region. We haven't quite identified the exact scope of what street segments that we're going to be upgrading as part of the phase 2, but we're going to be getting to that here over the summer. This is just the first step in the agreement. Funding is actually going to be released from the state of Illinois to SMC. So it's exciting news.
Okay, Lori, could you put those on?
Just so you're, just so the council's aware, this is the first in a series of agreements that we have to sign with SMC. This is a pre-agreement agreement. And then once DCEO actually releases the money, there'll be a second agreement as well.
Okay.
I'm sure there will be. So, but it's exciting news. We're actually moving forward in the process. We do anticipate, hopefully, that once all these agreements get approved, the Lewis Avenue Detention Basin project, we hope to be in a position where we can go out to bid towards September-ish. So start construction, probably finish it up next year.
All right.
Yeah, that's good.
Any questions? Alderman Smith.
Just wanted to clarify, this project is gonna eliminate or minimize the backup waters in the home because our pipe's gonna be bigger and we don't have to worry about it backing up into the home because the pipes are bigger. Because that agreed, I mean, I'm asking you, that was part of the problem, why? Because the pipes are small and a lot that water coming from running down is gonna.
That's part of the problem, yes. The big part of the problem was the fact that if you go, Pettibone Creek watershed basically starts up at Green Bay Road and flows all the way down to, I guess that would be, I call it Glen Avenue and Broadway, where you have the underpass that leads over to EMCO. That's where it outlets. That was an old creek bed that, years ago, before all the stormwater rules and regulations, they were able to build houses in there. So you have that storm sewer that goes all the way from Green Bay Road, travels, it's all enclosed in 10-inch, 24-inch pipes, 30-inch pipes that go all the way down there. And once the water, that pipe becomes full of water, you can't, it's Sherman Avenue, correct? And your neighbor's name is, that floods? Peterson, Evelyn Peterson. Literally, there's a dip in the road at Sherman Avenue that is 30 feet higher than the outlet pipe. That water cannot drain into the inlets. Why? Because there's no capacity in the pipe for it. So by digging the storm sewer basin over here at Lewis Avenue, we're creating the capacity in the pipe that it's going to be able to outlet. So we basically cut the system in half. And it's going to greatly help out everyone, both upstream and also downstream, because now in that, as the basin fills up with water, we can control how much is being released and when. So it'll fill up with water, and it may sit in there for a couple days, but it's slowly going to drain out. And that's the whole design of it. So yes.
And anyone else?
Yes, and just for the record, just so to eliminate kind of negative thoughts people may have, that basin is gonna be like a swamp? Just, I know,
No.
I know, but I just, for the record, can just
No.
can you tell us a little more about how it's gonna look?
The side slopes, there's going to be a couple different types of vegetation planted in the basin. As up near the top, you're going to have mowable turf grafts. You're going to come down on the side slopes. We're proposing to have like a wildflower seed mixture, something that can be inundated with water, maybe for a day or two. And as the water recedes, it comes back. But at the very bottom, you're also going to have a seed mixture that's going to be planted, that's going to allow it to be inundated for a couple days. And then once it drains down, then it's going to go away. We want it to be aesthetically pleasing. Our goal was originally to try to make it more of an interactive area where we can have mowed paths through the bottom of the basin. So if people want to go out for a walk, like I said, it's going to be a wildflower prairie mixture down there. That's our goal, is so you can have mowed paths throughout the basin area where people can go down there and walk when it's not flooded.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr.
No.
Chairman? Yep.
Go right ahead, Alderman Coleman.
Mr. Steve, I just want to say great job in bidding out everything and making sure everything goes through the due process. You come in week and week out with bidding. I know it takes effort to put the bids in and do the bid process. And I just want to say that you're doing a great job at making sure that everything is bidded out for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
All right, everything will be on for council. At this time, I'd like to close the Public Works Committee meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman January. Roll call.
Alderman Jackson.
Aye.
Alderman Coleman.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Aye.
Public Works Committee meeting has been closed.
Okay, I'd like to open the Finance Audit Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jackson.
Present.
Alderman Coleman.
Present.
Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen. Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy.
Present.
Alderman January.
Present.
Okay, we have 5 items on the agenda. Unless there are specific questions on the monthly budget report, which is item 1, I would like to move on to item 2. So any questions on the monthly budget report that you all received in your packets? Okay. Moving on to item 2, discussion of request to waive competitive bidding, rebranding campaign. Hi, Ambre.
Good evening, thank you. Hi. I come before you today to request the waiving of competitive bidding for our rebranding campaign. Our rebranding campaign is mostly born out of the fact that, most people, when you go to North Chicago events, they say there's a change coming. You can feel a change. And we've done extensive, research and decided that now is a good time to rebrand. If anyone is familiar with the business at 1616 Green Bay Road, It is called Studio North. You may have heard the name Studio North. They are very involved with the city. They are a local business. They have done branding for the city of Lake Forest, and they are involved with North Chicago extensively. I've personally taken City of North Chicago high school students over there, and they've pledged student mentorship for our local students. This is a community partner in every sense of the word. I can pick up the phone and call them and say, I need a poster for community days, and they're there. I can pick up the phone and, as I said, call them and say, hey, I want to bring some students over. They need some mentorship, and they are there. They've been in the city of North Chicago for 40 years. One of the main components of rebranding is that it's genuine. And being a business in the city of North Chicago for 40 years, I think is compelling enough that this business can determine who North Chicago genuinely is. And so for those reasons and many more, I'm prepared to answer any questions. I am asking that we waive competitive bidding for our neighbors at Studio North. Thank you.
Alderman Jackson.
My question would be, as I'm looking at the memorandum and I don't see a price that they're of their proposal that we're looking at.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there?
There is. The price of the four-phase rebranding campaign is $78,710. That's over 2 years. And we have done research and shown that that is very competitive industry-wide for this type of campaign.
You said 78,000.
78,710.
And my second question is, I know that they obviously are home-based here, but for $78,000, do we go out for a bid? I'm gonna have some struggles with $78,000 going out without seeing if there's someone else out there that can either do the quality of work that the studio can do at a less price. So I'm not really in favor of waiving the bid. I'm be totally honest with you, for $78,000. I mean, obviously I can't speak for the rest of the council, but that's an awful lot of change to spend with just one company, but not knowing what others can do for us.
One thing I'd like to, if I may, sir. We're talking about marketing here. And I understand with, Public Works and things where it's a tangible, where something has to be done. It's very easy to say apples to apples. However, when we talk about a campaign, we might have a small, one person agency that might say, well, I can do it for, half that. And so I do think that is a fair consideration and should be a fair consideration. But I completely understand what it is you're saying. And as I said, we have done research and shown that I've done extensive research on this. You may be familiar with the rebranding of Mundelein. I've been over to Mundelein and spoken with the people who did the rebranding there, and really, made myself aware of what this entails. It is something that is very important to moving a city forward. And so I'd just like for that to be a consideration. Thank you.
Alderman Smith.
Matt,
Alderman Smith and then Alderman Coleman.
Branding is important, especially as we get ready for this next level. It's important. But I do agree that it's important that we also know what we're gonna get. And you said you've done extensive research. In your research, what did you find? What, I mean, where's the other data from the extensive research what did you come up with?
Is there something in particular I can answer for you? I mean, or do you?
Dollar wise, and Junebug's company, we can do it for 50, but it doesn't have everything, or does it have more? I mean, when you say extensive research, I mean, I need something to say, hey, in order to waive this, I need you to say, hey, this is why we should waive it, not just because as a recommendation, but this is why. Yes, it's a North Chicago business, great, but also, again, it's having the concern as far as spending the city's money.
I understand, sir. The Studio North campaign that they've proposed is a 4-phase program. Discovery and research, strategy and planning, design and development, and then the activation phase. Their discovery and research, being that they're here in the community, they can actually speak to you as a city council. They can speak to residents, knowing the community. And one thing that I haven't mentioned, Studio North is also producing a documentary about the city of North Chicago. Amazing documentary, going back to, the early 1900s. So, once again, I believe that there are many things that should be considered that makes them more capable, and give them a leg up and give us a leg up in what we are getting. But as I said, they're here in the community. They're involved with the community. They know people in the community, and that makes them better equipped, I sincerely believe, to execute this rebranding for us.
Okay, Alderman Coleman and then Alderman January. Alderman Coleman, go ahead.
All right, city attorney, you can interject at any time if I misspeak. To the best of my knowledge, that we can, just because there's a bidding process, and let's say 78,000 is what North comes in at, and then Junebug comes in at $50. Just because Junebug comes in at $50, that doesn't mean that we have to use Junebug. That just means that we know that everybody was informed that this job is available and everybody had an opportunity to put a bid in. And then it's up to the alderman to decide, like, hey, this company, they've been here for 40 years. They have the equipment, they have the experience. We take the recommendation of our department heads heavily. And, it appears that Mr. Aubrey is in favor of North. But the final decision has to come down to the alderman. And without having a bidding process, Mr. Aubrey, what happens is the aldermen, they don't make the final decision. You don't give us an option. We only have one option. So just because we go out for bid doesn't mean we have to use Junebug or North, or it just puts everything on the table, make sure it's transparent for everybody. And then the aldermen make the final decision and which bid they want to take. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the lowest bid. It can be the recommendation of Aubrey, and that could be a higher bid. Is that correct, Mr. Attorney?
I actually wanted to expand on that.
Okay, yes.
Is that all right?
Yes, please, go ahead.
So I agree with you, this is a professional service. This isn't the type of thing where we're buying widgets or, whatever. So it's not gonna be a strictly cost-based procurement. It'll be a qualifications-based procurement. And there's a methodology we can go through where we do a request for proposals. And in drawing up the request, we can tell the people who are submitting a proposal, here are the things that are important to the city that we're gonna consider in making a decision. And you can have a committee of people rate their proposals and decide who is the most qualified. And you can compare who's the most qualified with the cost of getting the service. Anyway, it's an RFP or RFQ process. So it's qualifications based instead of just price based. And that way you can get input from anyone else who might be qualified to do it. You can say that it's important that you work in the community because of your familiarity with the strengths of the community. You can say that different criteria are important to weighing who's gonna be selected.
Thank you.
Okay, and the Alderman January, I think, was next.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you. Mr. Mayor, when did we just recently rebrand? Didn't we rebrand about, what is it, probably 3 or 4 years ago now? There was a rebranding that was done.
Not to the level at which we're trying to do here. I mean, that logo that's sitting on those are the things that we're actually gonna be starting to look at to change. I mean, it's a whole process of, not just change the logo, but changing the whole dynamics of bringing the community in to say, this is the direction the city is going now. I look at that logo again, it's
That's a seal. That's not a logo. That's a seal.
It's a seal that is a logo for the city of North Chicago, okay?
There's a
The
difference.
gentleman that made that I don't know if he was an alderman or what, but he came and made that, and that was probably 50, 60 years ago. It's, if you look at other communities that have gone through a rebranding, they're trying to, what's my word? Modernize their look. They want it, whether it's you see Lake Forest and they do the trees. You see Libertyville and they do it's more of a color, scheme. But then they take that to a level where they're trying to get it out to the public to make them more acceptable for our community. And I think this is why, Studio North is saying this is a 4-year, is it a 4-year or 4-phase process?
4-phase process, yeah.
So I mean, it's not just something that we say, okay, we're gonna just do new, just a new look, but I mean,
It's an evolution. I mean, it's an ongoing process that's going to advance and have benefits for the city and events, tourism, business.
This is the stuff I want to hear. I haven't heard this since the discussion, right? Have you guys heard this?
No.
No, we didn't until now. This is what we need you to bring to us. What's the benefit of rebranding? What are we looking at? What are we trying to accomplish?
Well, that's what I'm here to
And then
talk about, man.
I think what you're saying, what are the 4 phases that?
Yeah, and what's the
gonna-
4 phases?
are gonna
What are we
come from it?
doing? What, you had, I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, so thank you for saying that, the benefits and what we're looking to do. But my second question is, where is the money gonna come from? Where are you planning to get this money?
It's been approved in this year's fiscal budget. Well, like, as I said, it's over 2 years.
Mhm.
It's a 2-year rollout. And so, and that's another thing is Studio North is more willing because they are in the community to work within our means and our finances. But it's been approved. The first half has been approved in this year's fiscal budget.
So, and I have to apologize to everybody here tonight. I did not get a chance to get that far in the packet to read what you had sent. Did you send the proposal to us? Did you send us what's kind of going on?
No.
So this is like all brand new to us and we're not prepared
Alderman, so we would ask this then. We would ask that on the July 1st meeting, we'll prepare packages for you with copies of the proposal, more laid out. And Ombre can leave you with the rebranding phases. So you get a sense of it. And at that time, we'll come back and ask for the option to waive bidding if the council's comfortable with it. If not,
The cart before the horse, just a little bit.
okay, so we'll bring that information to council. Put a full package together to, give all the detail, but to Ombre's point, it is an evolution. If you look, and you by far have been here a lot longer than I am, it's, you look back to the time of the Angel Drill Team and how the city evolved, and then the military base, and then the military not giving access to North Chicago, and then changes all the way to where we're moving now. How people looked at North Chicago, or what they think of North Chicago, is the past. North Chicago is moving forward, but they don't know what we're doing because we haven't marketed out there. You hear about Bedford Park and New Lenox and Schaumburg and all these entities on what they're doing to draw tourism, events, business into the community. And they're doing that through a marketing campaign, a rebranding campaign. And it's people in the city are saying there's a buzz in here that things are changing. But people on the outside aren't getting it because they don't get the exposure like our residents and our businesses do. This tool that Ombre's proposing, it'll give us that ability to reach. And in fairness, I'll take the hit on not making sure this was properly prepared or this was adequately prepared for the council. We'll put some packages together that are more detailed, more comprehensive, and we'll present it on July 1 for whatever Q&A. If the council chooses, we can make it Studio North available for that. However, I would suggest against that. I think this is a time that the council wants to look and say, okay, this makes sense. I understand this. Now bring Studio North and they have the conversation if that's deemed appropriate. So,
I agree with the benefits of rebranding. I mean, obviously, I thought there was some rebranding that we had done, which we did. I don't think it cost the city any money to do it, but again, I can see the benefit. I see what you're talking about now, versus when you first came in. So I really appreciate all the efforts, and I'm looking forward to see how we rebrand the city and keep it moving forward. That's exciting to hear. So, but again, I also want to know though, you say it's in the budget. I want to know exactly where the money is coming from.
yeah, I can give you the exact line, the exact fund that was approved by the council. Also, as a side note for reference to the council members, Studio North, if you're not familiar with them, I was able to go over there and have discussions and look at their facilities. They are a nationally award-winning, recognized marketing and advertisement firm right here in our backyard, and have been here for some time. And their employees, some of their employees live in North Chicago. So that's a value add that you can't replace. It is having a sense of the community. But again, my apologies for not making sure there was much detail, and we'll make sure that's in place on July 1st.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think, you're welcome. I believe the mayor had either a question or a comment, then Alderman Smith, and then Alderman Evans.
No, I think it's been said,
Okay.
but one thing I will say, I know, we used to go to I went to quite a few conferences, and there was a city, Newark, New Jersey. Every time I go to this conference, Newark, New Jersey was there promoting their city, and I think they were in the process of doing a rebranding. And when I first started going, and this is probably over 5-6 years, Newark, New Jersey was
It was not in good, it was not in good shape.
Okay, you get the message, okay? But over those years that they kept going and now, there is a town that people can recognize and look at and say, that's a town I wouldn't mind going to. That's something I think what we're trying to do here. But it does, you know, again, we got that buzz. People are saying, I see a change in North Chicago now. I think things are happening that, you know, they like. We've got to build on that. And this is, I think, the best way to do it, to, you know, as we do a rebranding, make sure the residents are on board and helping us to, you know, do it. And I think that's part of what Studio North wants to do also, not just council, but also to reach out to the residents to help through that. So
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
and I think Alderman Smith, I know you wanted to make a
All right,
comment
my question is,
or question.
are you working with our group that's already in place for our comprehensive plan?
Yes, we have had them meet together and work out, because a lot of the data that the two groups are looking for, a lot of the things that the two groups are looking to do are aligned. And these two groups have sat down at the table and do have contact with one another. I mean, it's, you know, one is infrastructure and one is marketing and publicity, but you know, we're determining where the city is headed for a matter of generations. And so it would be, you know, we would be remiss to not have those two groups in contact with one another. So the answer is yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Alderman Evans?
Okay. I know you said that they did work before. Have you checked, have they did any other cities besides trying to do here?
City of Lake Forest.
They did do the city of Lake
Yes,
Forest.
the trees that the mayor was speaking about.
So
Yes.
they did a rebranding. And when you spoke to them, how did that work out as far as doing something in the local community? Cause you did, I'm sure you had a conversation with them.
Oh, I've had multiple conversations with them.
Just give us one.
And
Just give us-
with Studio North.
Yes,
What are you asking for,
as
sir?
far as how it worked out of them rebranding Lake Forest versus the challenges of rebranding here in North Chicago.
Okay, well, I haven't had the challenges of what they did in Lake Forest. So that's not a conversation I've had. I thought you were, I'm sorry, sir, asking whether our conversations about rebranding in North Chicago.
Well, go ahead, tell us.
Well, I mean, a lot of what I've said here today, they're excited, they're genuine about rebranding North Chicago because they're passionate about North Chicago.
Okay.
The buzz that people feel in our community, the change that people feel in our community that we're experiencing, they experience it because
Yes.
they're, you know, a half mile away. They're not in the community of the community. I mean, you know, like I said, they're involved with community days. They're involved with our students, you know. I mean, you would rarely find an organization like that where you can walk in with a group of 20 students and they say, if you need mentorship with regard to your futures, call us.
Right.
You know, and that it's that kind of genuine generosity that is going to be able to equip this organization to say who North Chicago is, because that's what the branding is. They know who we are because they're part of who we are.
And Andre, the price that you quoted to us,
Yes, sir.
that price was for 2 years, correct?
That price has been spread out for 2 years. The rebranding campaign is going to take. I mean, when I sat down with Mundelein, they said that they're 10 years in, and it wasn't until 5 years that they really felt that the rebranding had taken hold. Now, that cost for Studio North is the cost of their consultation, but they will be with us throughout. As I said, if I can call and say, hey, we need something for community days, I can call 5 years into the rebranding campaign and they'll be there. I'm confident that they'll be there because, as I said, they are a reliable partner for the city of North Chicago.
Do you think it's necessary to go out to other businesses, other marketing places besides this one that you've been involved with?
I don't believe it's necessary. If we had to do it, you know, as the attorney spoke about, I'm confident that Studio North, will come out on top. But I do believe that we've got the best right here in our community. And they're really, looking elsewhere is kind of futile, in my opinion. It's not my decision, but that is my opinion. I walk in the front door, I leave here and go over there, walk in the front door and say, hey, look, I need something, and they're always there. And, as a person who, my job is communications and outreach, and I deal with businesses within the city of North Chicago, without the city of North Chicago, and I don't have very many partners that are that open and that willing to help us reach our goals.
I truly believe by you being in that position that you're in, that to represent the city, that you would be the right person to know how to outreach out here to communicate to others about what the city needs as far as community outreach. So
Yes, sir.
therefore, by you being exposed to Studio North or to anyone else, you would know what the comparison is instead of going out to different communities searching. You know what's right here in the city of North Chicago.
Yes, sir. I mean, when we put this out for bid, we're going to get, proposals from all over, New England and California and, all these different places. But having someone here in the community we're not speaking nuts and bolts. I mean, no offense to, nuts and bolts, but we're speaking of something that's an intangible, and that having someone in this community is just invaluable.
They gotta, I think they're gonna have skin in the game. I
Yes,
guess
sir.
that's what you'll call it. When they do the rebranding, they won't get it done and walk away, because they're here in the
They're
business,
here.
they're here in the community.
Correct.
They want to make sure that, they see it grow just as much as we do. Other businesses that may do it, they may be from somewhere else. They said, okay, we're done. They walk away.
Can I offer one more thing? Alderman Smith, you're famous for saying, hey, when you go and you gas up, don't gas up in Kenosha, because that money leaves the community. Well, we're talking about $78,000, and that money is staying here in our community. So I want you to consider that as well. I think that's a huge consideration, that money is, gonna partially come back to the city because it is local. They're not in Lake County. They are in North Chicago.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
1 second, Alderman Coleman. Alderman January has the floor, and then you'll be right after.
Thank you. One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, probably two, but they go together. And I just want this for the record. Is there any invested interest on your part with this company?
No, ma'am.
And do you know of anyone that has a conflict of interest with this company? that
No,
they
ma'am.
have Invested? Okay, just want to make sure.
Yes, absolutely. It's a fair question.
Okay, Alderman Coleman?
Yes, Mr. Aubrey, I want you to know that I agree with all your points, and you have great points. And I know you've done your homework, and I don't ever speak to you because you do such a good job at what you do. I just want you to know that I will 80% chance go with your recommendation, no matter what the bids come in at. With that being said, I have a question. Have you
Yes, sir.
reached out to have you reached out to K3O?
K3L?
Yes.
You mean
Nah,
Mr. Oglesby?
Yes, Brian Oglesby, North Chicago-based business that does logos.
Well, sir,
Yes or no?
Brandon,
Yes or no?
well, no.
Okay. Have you reached out to McAllister Signs and North Chicago business and resident as well?
No,
Yes or
sir.
no? Okay. So help me, all right? When I'm up here, I don't speak for myself to try to cause problems. What's gonna happen is, and even our senior alderman, when they were making logos for the fire department, he said to reach out to Brian Oglesby, K3O, to see if he could do the logos for the fire department. We never reached out to him. And what happens is, I speak for the people. I don't speak for myself. But what happens is the other North Chicago businesses that might not be able to do the entire phase 4 of the project, they might just be able to do the logo or something. They're going to call me and they're going to say, why didn't I know about this? Why don't you guys ever use me? Why isn't there ever a bid process that I can get involved in? And Brian Oglesby, he's doing work for the Falls Park District. And I would say he's doing rebranding work currently for the Falls Park District. I know Vance can speak on that a little bit more, but
Yeah, you may not want to do that.
what the well, the point is, I'm going to get calls from these people and they're going to ask me why North Chicago isn't using me as a business, and I'm in North Chicago as well, and why North Chicago didn't give me an opportunity. So I'm not saying that I'm not going to go with the Aubrey. I just want to give all the North Chicago businesses an opportunity to at least turn in their application to get denied. So without allowing them to turn in their application, I really don't have an answer for them when they call me saying, hey, why is North Chicago turning the cold shoulder on?
Can I respond? Can I respond?
Yes,
to
yes.
I respect what you're saying, and one thing I'd like to lead with is that rebranding is so much more than a logo. A logo is a signaling that the rebranding is taking place, and as I said, this is a something that happens over a matter of years. Secondly, I've spoken to Mr. Oglesby personally. You can ask Mr. Oglesby, and well, frankly, I offered to do business with Mr. Oglesby because our alderman Bobby Allen asked me to, and I did that. And so you could ask Mr. Oglesby. I had a conversation with him outside of Falls Park District. So this isn't something that I'm trying to skirt around anybody or I'm trying to slight anybody. I looked and did research and did my homework to find who I believe is the best. And I invite you to speak with Mr. Oglesby about our conversation, if you feel.
Okay. Sure. I was just gonna clarify for Alderman Coleman that Mr. Oglesby is not doing rebranding for Falls Park District. He's doing apparel for Falls Park District, as well as giveaways, tablecloths, and those types of things. There's no rebranding that K3O is doing for Falls Park District.
Thanks. Okay.
So, so would it be safe, Mr. Aubrey, that if Mr. Oglesby if he calls me, I can refer him back to your office and say that you weren't included in the process?
I wouldn't say that. I mean,
I don't want to take those phone calls.
I said that I understand. I understand, sir. You made your
Gotcha.
opinion.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
respect it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Aubrey, you do a good job. I just want you
Thank
to know
you.
you do a great job.
Alderman Jackson?
So my question is, based on what I'm hearing, even though we do have other North Chicago businesses that might be able to provide the service or not, is we're looking more toward a quality issue versus quantity.
Alderman, I don't think that there is another business that in North Chicago that is fully qualified to do this type of work.
So you feel, as Alderman Smith says, is they can take us to the next level.
Yes, they can.
There you go.
And they'll be there when we get to the next level. And they'll be there when we get to the next level after that. And that is the thing. If we engage with someone in Chicago or some other city, they're gonna say, this is what we're gonna do, and we're done. This is a business that's going to be there for us no matter what.
That's great to hear.
Okay, like to move on to the next item on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alderman Smith. Do we have to make, is that a decision that we need to make tonight? I would think that that's,
Greg said he was gonna bring back another packet with.
so
more
we'd have information before we make the decision. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so for our next meeting, we'll have an opportunity to review some more information before making any other decisions about either waiving competitive bidding or how we're gonna go forward from this point.
All right, thank you.
Okay, all right,
All
thanks, Albert. Item 3 on the agenda, discussion, request a $500 donation.
Well,
for
that one
Ju-
could be removed.
Oh, it is, okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
Yeah.
Then item 4, discussion of proposed IGSA between Naval Station Great Lakes and the city of North Chicago. Hi, Taylor.
Hey, good evening. Thank you. Tonight before you is a discussion item for a intergovernmental service agreement between the city of North and Naval Station Great Lakes. If you recall, back in March, we entered into a letter of intent with the naval installation regarding this item. At that time, we were exploring different services that might be available for this agreement. And just in a nutshell, what this agreement would do is it's a way for the naval station to utilize city contracts for services or procurement, and using the city's contract, ultimately receive a lower cost to the Navy installation. If they go through their normal procedures, it's a long process and usually results in a higher cost. So by using a city contract, piggybacking off of those, if you will, they see their costs lowered, and as a mechanism to incentivize the city, they would do an administrative fee that would come back to the city. And so the Navy, they have a national program. They utilize the contractor to go from installation to installation, all the different branches of military. This year, they're focusing on Naval Station Great Lakes. So this is a program that's made available nationwide, but this year they're trying to build up support here locally. So they've been working with other agencies in the area to do similar agreements with them. So in March, when we did the letter of intent, entered into that, we had a number of different items that we had put on a quick list there to see would there be merit to exploring these different services further. And we looked into some of those. Some of those included road and sidewalk maintenance, salt procurement, HVAC equipment in the facilities and the maintenance of that equipment, fire systems, waste management, buying of heavy equipment. And basically working with staff and the naval installation staff, we whittled those down one by one to see which ones had merit, which ones probably would work for us. Some of that's timing considerations, some of that's cost, some of that's the scope of services, and some of that's the availability and capacity of vendors. And so we whittled that down to one potentially viable contract, and that's for waste management. We are currently exploring the finer details of this with the waste management contractor who we presently have to see if they have capacity. But I would note that this agreement is with legal on both the Navy side and city side to work out the terms of that as well. But it would not apply to the current contract that we have with LRS. We would not be able to just expand the scope of that arbitrarily and unilaterally. So I want to make that clear. Current contract with LRS is through October 31st, 2027. So right now we're looking for support to take this to council. And again, with the caveat that this is still under legal review.
Any questions? Okay, so for next steps, since this is under legal review, will we be revisiting this at the July meeting?
There are some time constraints. I mentioned the contractor that's here working with the local installation. Their contract with Navy actually expires in August. So there is a little bit of time sensitivity. We would like to take this to council and then as part of that agenda packet, make available the agreement that would be vetted by legal at that time.
Okay, for our next meeting, for the July 1st meeting?
Correct.
Okay,
For council.
okay, great. That sounds wonderful. Thank you.
This has already started legal review.
Yeah.
We aren't starting just from square
Okay.
one.
No, and I did hear him mention that, but I wanted to see what our timeline kind of looked like. And have an action item to move this on to the next meeting's agenda. For, at that point, another presentation or, consideration and potential approval, hopefully.
That would be
Move
consideration
it
of.
onto the regular
yeah.
agenda by then.
Yeah.
Okay, then that would be, okay, if that's ideal, then that's what we should try to shoot for. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, and last item on the agenda, discussion of the treasurer's report.
Only thing, Alderman, that I would like to add is there at your desk was this new security one. Originally, there was 3 cells that were formatted as number instead of date. So instead of it being showing a maturity date of $45,642, it actually will show you the actual date of 12/16/24, 2024, for those 3 cells. So that was the only update on the treasurer's report.
Okay, thank you. And any other questions for the treasurer on the treasurer's report? Okay, then hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to close the Finance and Audit Committee meeting.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Alderman Evans, seconded by Alderman January. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jackson.
Aye.
Alderman Coleman.
Aye.
Alderman
Aye.
Evans. Alderman Smith. Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Okay, thank you. The Finance and Audit Committee meeting stands adjourned.
I would like to open up Economic Development Planning and Zoning Committee. Roll call.
Alderman Jackson.
Present.
Alderman Coleman.
Present.
Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen. Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy.
Present.
Alderman January.
Present.
All right, we have 2 items on the agenda. Discussion of Economic Development Planning and Zoning Departmental Report. Any questions?
There's another page. Or there's, well.
Okay, thank you. All right.
There it is.
There, correction, we have 4 items. The third one being discussion of lease agreement, MCO using parking lot at 0 Martin Luther King Drive. Discussion of extension requests, Fairway Lane and Green Bay Road.
Number 2 can be removed though. That option for the property.
All right,
2 can be removed.
and we'll have number 2 removed from the discussion. Any questions on the monthly report? All right, we go to item number 3. Taylor.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
Good evening.
This item pertains to the property at the southeast corner of Martin Luther King and Commonwealth Avenue. It's a basically unimproved parking lot facility there that the city owns. For the past few years, we've been leasing that to MCO. They are the facility that's across the street on the north side of the road. They've been leasing it from the city for $500 a month for additional parking capacity. So they provided notice to us last month that they would like to extend their lease per the terms of their existing contract with the city and keep that going for 1 more year. It would then expire in August 2025. So.
Any questions on that?
Question.
Alderman Evans.
Will they maintain the cleanup on that property?
Don't believe the scope of the contract calls for that, so that would be on the city, it's my understanding. We still own it. Sidebar, but they don't seem to be using this for parking. They don't see cars parked out there. I think they're kind of just using it as a safe play in case they do need it at such time. So I do feel that it's the city's responsibility to maintain that.
So, okay, I just wanted to make sure that who's gonna clean it up. Okay.
Any more quick? Yes, Alderman January.
Yes. Taylor, for the parking lot there, in the lease agreement, is there anything about what type of vehicle can be parked in the parking lot?
Good question, and to be honest, I just don't have that right in front of me. Do you have it? Okay, thank you, I'm sorry, I did not anticipate
Yeah,
that.
it says, if I could just read, may I, by the way, may I just read?
I'm over here.
Oh, sorry about that.
I know we all look alike.
Sorry, Alderman Smith. May I read from?
Go right ahead.
The use of the property is strictly for employee parking, semi-tractor trailers parked on the site, and any storage of products, materials, or storage containers will be prohibited. So they're basically talking about employee parking only.
Okay, good.
Cars, SUVs, I mean, whatever somebody would normally drive, but no heavy equipment or.
Thank you, Alderman.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Alderman Smith.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, teamwork makes the dream work. Any more questions on that? Thank you. All right, number 4.
All right, item number 4 here, relates to 2 properties commonly known as 0 Fairway Lane, 0 Green Bay Road. Property owner is here in attendance. These properties were sold, 2021, to Norman Cole. These, are unimproved lots. One property, the one at 0 Fairway Lane, was sold for $2,500, and then 0 Green Bay Road was sold for $5,500 to Mr. Cole. As with a lot of the vacant properties that the city acquired and disposed of, there were conditions placed upon the via a special warranty deed as part of the transaction there that had certain dates that a permit needed to be submitted for a new single-family home, and then a home completed and then occupied. So those dates have actually lapsed on this property. The property owner met with ECD's staff and has asked for a extension to those timelines that are in both the real estate contract and the special warranty deed. They're seeking 18 months. I will say that ECD has received copies of the plans. The homeowner does have a home they would like to construct on these properties. They would first pursue the home construction on 0 Fairway Lane, and then move on to the one at the northwest corner of Green Bay and Argonne. And just get your bearings on where 0 Fairway Lane, that's actually off of Natoma. It's kind of where Natoma snakes around. I want to say it's like 1700 block area up there. 1713 is what the tentative address is out there. So the homeowner is seeking your direction as to whether you would be amenable to an 18-month extension from today's date to pursue the construction on these 2 lots.
Alderman Jackson.
So, Mr. Cole, just a question I have. If you are given this 18-month extension, do you feel you will be able to complete the project in that amount of time?
Yeah, I feel I should be able to complete both projects in that time, if I'm able to move forward. Because as I came to him prior to before we had a meeting, I was actually thinking I can go from my stuff with Nimrod and other people speaking and come and have meetings. I didn't know that this was going to arise, even though I did have the time limit it said, but I got all my stuff done I sent them some other stuff as of May 2nd when for the sub, which call it it's or like the sub stuff, that everything that had to be finished up, the last thing tightened up for we can actually send my plans in and actually go forward with you guys. So that was actually sent over to me by that individual, so we can get the process going. So as of now, I'm ready to go over there and start, talk to them about pulling the trees out, getting everything going as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. I definitely would like to see you as a homeowner. So.
Yeah, so I got the grant, so I got everything done, so it's like.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Cole.
Yes.
I also have one question. What has caused the delay in moving forward with the building and all of that?
Okay, so one part of the delay was when I first purchased the property. I wouldn't have spoke with Nimrod because as I purchased the property, it still had like a lien on it. So that was like, that took like almost close to a year to get, if you look in his emails, I got copies of it. I was gonna have to get copies if I can give them to you guys, but I have it. And then he's seen that it was on Lake County's fault that they didn't, I guess, take the process. It was some money I had to for taxes. So he finally got that taken care of. And then down the line, I'll say back around January 4th of 2023, a person I had doing my blueprints for me older guy had ended up getting sick, so that kind of stopped the process, which they communicated that. And then like back around April 14, we had more conversation. And he asked he seen my blueprints, see what was going on. So he inquired me about the roof that I was doing, so I changed that. August 15th, we had more they actually reached out to him and sent them over like the blueprints and the plans and everything. As of August 15th of that, then it was the winter months came. So then when I eventually started trying to get everything back into, I came to the city, which they gave me some upfront, then the building department gave me some misleading information. So that took more time when I got that to get all my contractors together, which I should have been talking to him already. So that kind of threw me for a loop right there. But other than that, everything is here, everything's set and ready to go. Blueprints, I got everything that you guys asked for. And I'm ready to move forward.
Awesome. I love to hear that. Taylor, with his information given tonight to us, as far as some misleading information from the front or whatever office he was at, are you aware of that and have you been able to address those?
Yeah, Mr. Cole brought that to my attention when we spoke last week. I'm not certain exactly the content that was specifically spoken of. I do understand the concern that was brought up, and I do understand it relates to something with contractor. It seemed more of a misunderstanding from the individual they were speaking of, and for whatever reason, I don't think either of us know, or perhaps it just sounded like it was a just honest misunderstanding of what he was trying to communicate versus what our staff was trying to
Well, thank
communicate.
you
So,
for looking into it and making sure that it, it doesn't continue with anyone else, because I don't like hearing misleading information being given, so. And if you don't know, find out. So, thank you.
Mayor?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for keeping us informed and being able to move forward on a piece of property that you've been working on. You know, I know that there's times where, you know, things may come up that may delay the process, and, you know, roadblocks, I guess you say, may also come about. But as long as you're keeping this council and staff informed on, you know, where you're at through the process, and if you need more time, I think, you know, I don't see a problem as long as we're informed of where you stand at. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And hopefully that, you know, you'll finish getting that project up and running.
Oh, yes, thank you as well.
Attorney?
Mr. Chairman,
Stand by, please.
I want you to remember that the deed that the city gave you gives the city the right to take the property back. And so if you're gonna need to borrow money to build the homes, make sure the bank knows that we have the right to take the property back.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Wait just a second. Alderman Coleman.
Mr. Cole, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your ties to the city of North Chicago and always supporting the things that are done in North Chicago. I remember you as a neighbor, as a second ward resident in the second ward on Elizabeth Street. And I appreciate every time being able to come to you for support for the children and donations through all your businesses. And you've always been willing to give back to the community. So first of all, you and your dad and your entire family. So I appreciate it. I just want you to know that I support you, and I'm pretty sure you'll get the project done on time. That's all.
Thank you.
Alderman Evans.
I just got a question for Taylor. I know we had been through this before with someone purchasing the property and they not completing it and came back before trying to get an extensions, or maybe they couldn't get the extension. Did you explain that to Mr. Cole about?
yeah, that did come up in our
just in case he didn't
conversation.
know
Yes.
anything about?
We can
Yeah.
talk about it.
So
Okay.
I did explain, you know,
No surprises, right?
Mhm.
So,
Any more questions? Thank you. No more questions. I'd like to entertain a motion that we close economic development.
second.
Zoning committee. All right, moved by Alderman January, second by Alderman Carl Evans. Roll call.
Alderman Jackson. Alderman Coleman,
Aye.
Alderman Evans,
Aye.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Aye.
That's it. That's it. That's right. You can do that too. You can do it.
Alrighty, ready? Would like to call the Public Safety Committee to order. Roll call.
Alderman Jackson,
Present.
Alderman Coleman,
Present.
Alderman Evans, Alderman Allen. I'm sorry. Evans, did I
You
say
still have, you know.
Alderman
Here.
Evans? Alderman Allen, Alderman Smith,
Present.
Alderman Murphy. Present. Alderman January.
Present.
Okay, we have two items, obviously, the discussion of police department monthly report, discussion of fire department monthly report. Just to make sure everyone has a chance if they need to add or delete or have any questions on either of those two reports. Hearing none, I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn the Public Safety Committee meeting.
So we'll
Okay, it's been moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman January to adjourn the Public Safety Committee meeting. All in favor signify by aye.
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 Those
Aye.
opposed say nay. Thank you very much. I need my 15 minutes in the sun.
All right, I'd like to open up the committee as a whole. Roll call.
Alderman Jackson,
Present.
Alderman Coleman,
Present.
Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen, Alderman Smith,
present.
Alderman Murphy.
Present.
Alderman January.
Present.
Okay, we have, I guess we have one item, because the other item was discussed earlier during council. This one is a discussion and review of a special A license at Katina Management at 2004 Martin Luther King Drive, Karim Merchant. So at this time, I had Chief of Staff would like to give you a little report on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I prepared a staff memorandum regarding the application for a Class A special liquor license for Katina Management at 2004 Martin Luther King. Some of this was data finding on my own. Some of it was participation with other department heads, including the police department, as well as the comptroller's office and economic development. Before I start, I want to, before I forget, to Alderman January 53. The number of liquor licenses you asked me for last week. I just wanted to make sure I got that back to you.
You know, before Chief of Staff starts though, I guess I need to give a little background. I know Karim is here, seeking the license. And he's come to me on several occasions asking for it. And I know one of the things I did ask is ensure that council was aware of what his request is. Which is again, a special use license to sell alcohol at his presence. Not just beer, wine for the gaming, but he would like to sell, alcohol. And during that time, I did ask Chief of Staff, to do a review on that license and where it stands and how a special Class A license has to be issued. So this is where Chief of Staff found some research, and I just want to make council aware of it before we start to move forward on his request. Okay, so go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, after a review conducted by staff on a number of factors, including analysis of sales tax revenues, analysis of gaming operations and revenues and expenditures wagers and monies brought in on gaming operations as well as police activity. The staff recommendation the staff is making a recommendation that the Class A special license be denied. There are a number of reasons. First of all, I touched on this earlier. There's only 4 businesses in town that truly meet the Class A special qualification of what's described as complete meals. That based on a review of the menu and the facility over at Cantina, I don't think that falls into the category of the other four. We've taken very deliberate, the city council and the liquor commissioner has been very deliberate in their issues of these special A licenses because you're gonna have hard alcohol there. And there's only 9.4% of our entire liquor licenses that are Class A special. That is Flanagan's, Toby's, 1119, and Mestres Teseros down on MLK. The sales tax revenues indicate to myself as well as the comptroller that there will not be adequate revenues to offset the 51% requirement of meals over alcohol. There were $3.4 million worth of wagers in the gaming machines in that based on that 6th terminal. We see this as an opportunity. And let me go back for a second. The property owner claims, or the business owner claims, that he needs the hard alcohol component of this license to help sustain his business and support it. There are absolutely no quantitative peer-reviewed studies. There are industry-related studies, but no academic studies that I could come across that says there's a direct correlation between hard liquor sales and an increase in consumption of food or an increase in patronage to a given facility. Industry literature does make that statement, but it's also an industry-based periodical or article. There are and I provided one from the National Institute of Health. There are quantitative peer-reviewed studies that show that increase in alcohol consumption and an elevation to your alcohol content allows you to act irrationally when it comes to betting on gaming terminals and in gaming facilities. We see this as when we look at what our 4 Class A special license holders are, and that they serve sit-down meals with table service, and alcohol is not the primary, but the experience is from food consumption, not alcohol and gaming. This doesn't appear to meet those qualifications. Also, to let you know, when we talk about a law enforcement, and the chief's here and can speak to it as well. In the past 2.5 years, there have been 123 police calls for service or self-initiated investigations at the location of 2004 Martin Luther King Drive. Of those 55 incidences, they included unwanted subjects, theft from motor vehicles, theft, unarmed robbery, 1 overdose, offender with weapons, intoxicated people, disputes, disturbances, criminal trespass, battery, and assault. We have concerns about it. We would also suggest this, that from an economic development standpoint, the location for that restaurant may be a factor in not serving it well in sales. The other item we would say is based on police activity, the potential comfort level with being a patron at that facility. And oddly enough, during my research, 51% of people who consume food like to look at a website for a menu before placing a phone order. 70% want to have a website that links to the business that they can order directly. We could not find a website on the web for this business. It's just an example of other issues that could help grow that food consumption business. But based on what we're seeing here in this, and we can go much more in depth and probably find more data to support it. We think that what will end up happening is that the property owner may be well-intended to turn around and grow his business. But when that business doesn't grow, what we see is the potential of reverting to a gaming cafe. And as the city council has made an effort to turn around and look at not only a moratorium, But how do we turn around and address the 199 video terminals that are out there in the proliferation of gaming in the city? Allowing this to be a gaming cafe would probably not serve in the spirit of doing that work. That's our recommendation, Mr. Mayor, members of the council.
Thank you. I don't know, council, anything, but Mr. Karim, did you want to make any statement also in regards to this?
No, this is just a restaurant. People want to ask for margaritas and, pina coladas and stuff. Just the cocktails and stuff. It's not a bar or anything. And I don't know what you got numbers from. It's a Mexican restaurant, sit-down restaurant. And I doubt we ever even have one phone call to the police department. It's like over 55 calls. I think you got a wrong address or something.
Well, I don't know if you're asking us if
Yeah.
that's not.
Yeah, this
correct, but-
is a restaurant next door to the,
I
I think
mean-
gas station, right, yeah.
And the class, I guess what my concern is a class A special use says it has to be 50%, 51% is actually food that is being consumed at your
Right,
store.
right.
And I don't think you're meeting that consumption.
No, we are.
For what we're showing as far as
That's
tax.
absolutely full-time restaurant, big menu. We do Uber Eats and DoorDash and everything. So this is restaurant, sit down. We're not talking about somebody drinking a shot or, buying a. whiskey.
With a class A license, they can drink a shot if they wish to have.
No, we're gonna have.
I'm not saying that if you get a license such as this, you have that opportunity to do that.
To give it to who?
To whoever asks for a shot.
No,
I
we
mean,
don't-
that's what a class A license is
No,
alcohol.
Right.
Which is not just beer and wine.
no, I like you to consider, this is just a sit down with some cocktail, summer kind of drinks. We close at like 11 o'clock, so it's not even a late hours or anything.
I asked, you asked to have this brought to council.
Right.
Bring it to council. And I don't know if the council had any other questions that they want to ask in regards to this. But as a liquor commissioner, I'm hesitant
Yes.
to issue
No,
such a
it's-
license
Mayor,
to
a lot of
a gas station. And I think I brought this on
Right.
several occasions.
It's a misunderstanding. This is a Mexican restaurant, sit-down restaurant, it's a big menu. We're getting hurt.
I mean,
Lot of people ask.
On the times I've seen, I don't know how many customers you have at a certain time. I don't know when's your big rush for sit down dinner.
Lunch and dinner by like 6 o'clock. It will be done by 7:30, 8 o'clock. And the morning 11 till noon, 12:30.
Alderman Jackson.
So here's my question. Earlier we talked about increasing the maximum number of a Class A special license from 9 to 10. Where would he fit in this equation is that if he was given a
He
license
would have
as
to
a
give
special,
up his gaming and then get the same as Full Moon.
but we're counting Full Moon as one of the 10, or did I miss something?
Yeah.
If they got it, if they were to have it.
Yeah, that's correct. That would
Right.
have been it would have been number 5 if they got it.
Okay,
Correct.
Oh.
I put a footnote down at the bottom.
okay. I'm just looking at the agenda. I'm sorry, but I was just curious because if we're saying we're increasing by 1, where would that fit in? But since
They
you
would have to add it. You would
you'd
have to
have to
approve adding
add
another.
another one.
that's what I'm
would
trying
add
to get
another
at.
one.
So now we'd
Yes.
have to go to 11.
Right.
And where do we stop at what point is enough? That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not, I don't want to be the liquor capital of Lake County. And somewhere we've got to stop. I understand that we like business, we like industry, but there's just too many liquor stores in our little community. There's just too many gaming facilities in our little community. And somewhere, somebody's going to get hurt. It's not going to be a benefit to the city at all. And that's what I don't want to see.
Alderman January.
Thank you, Mayor. And Liquor Commissioner. My question is this. I agree with first statement. I agree with Alderman Jackson. I have been sitting up here for almost 12 years now. saying the exact same thing. When are we going to stop? We're only a 2x3 town. And we are so saturated with gaming, liquor. I'm sorry, to me, I wouldn't want to bring a business here with all of that. And second of all, tonight, to hear that our police department has been called to this address over 100 times. When, Mayor, as a liquor commission, do you start revoking license for people that are having the police department more than 100 times to their facility directly? And that we need to start taking a stance when this is happening, because again, as Alderman Jackson so nicely put it, there's harm coming to the citizens here in North Chicago. And I don't like seeing that. I want to see our crime go down. I want to see everybody not be fearful to go out to these different places. As you all know, I work in home health. My colleagues will not come to North Chicago. That's what's out there. So, and it's not because of my doing, it's been there. And I've told them, no, it's okay during the day. Nighttime, but that's like any other community, nighttime, and that's what I tell them. But when are we gonna stop and take a stance? Thank you, Mayor.
Is anyone else?
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Coleman, you'll be next after Alderman Evans.
If you're gonna deny Kareem, this guy's gonna deny Kareem from getting a license to serve liquor over there, you should start with Full Moon, with the one that we were talking about, regardless of how long they've been in the community. This man been in the community just as long. He has.
I've been in community over 26 years now.
He has an establishment. He built onto his establishment. And I understand about what Alderman January and Alderman Jackson is saying, but to give one to Full Moon, and this man had built onto his establishment, and to deny him, and we just set up here just a few minutes ago talking about liquor license, I think maybe you should just stop him today.
Recently, new restaurant just popped up and they got the license. God knows where they came from. They were not from this neighborhood. They came in last year.
There's a difference though.
Yeah.
There's a difference, because I gotta admit that restaurant is a sit-down restaurant that people come to, just like Full Moon. It's and that's where the majority of their selling point is food.
No, we are sit down. We are 90% business sit down, full menu order.
My question then is, can you prove that your 51% of your business comes from food?
100% comes from food. That's all I got. Nothing. I don't have anything else. I might sell like a 30-40 bucks beer. There's 100% food business.
It isn't just food.
It is just the food, yeah.
Pardon me. There's a definition here of complete meals. Serving a snack or a sandwich, even if a person sits at the table to consume it, if I'm reading this correctly, there is a difference. There's a difference between being able to sit down and order a complete
meal. We have complete meals.
Versus, I just looked at your menu online.
Okay, and what we have?
Sandwiches.
Right.
Tacos.
Right.
Nachos, fries, things like
hamburgers, tingas, Italian beef. So that's sit down thing.
I'm not making the distinction between how people sit or stand to eat. What I'm saying is people sit down to eat it, but it is, I would say, not a complete meal. It's either it may be a complete meal for somebody. For some people, a bag of chips is a complete meal.
No.
I'm not gonna go down that road. The idea of what defines a complete meal and the primary reason for going into an establishment to eat is, if I'm reading this right, where these definitions are being, are being created. That's how the definition gets created.
Just change the definition so he doesn't have.
Okay, all right,
You want me to read it?
so there's, yeah, please do.
A complete meal is a meal ordered from a written or spoken menu. Said meal must include a main course with at least 2 optional courses, such as a salad, appetizer, soup, or dessert.
We do have all those, yeah. Best dessert in the whole North Chicago.
You have a liquor license already, right?
Game.
Yeah,
But you do serve beer and wine
Beer,
already,
correct.
right? So it's not like, so just so we're clear, he already has the ability to serve beer and wine. The distinction is he wants to be able to serve hard alcohol.
Right. The margaritas and, pina coladas, cocktails. We have blenders and stuff.
I'm not looking for you to tell me your business model. I'm just letting them know.
Right.
You already.
We already have a liquor, yeah. We already have beer, yeah.
Let me, hang on, Alderman Coleman, you actually were next, and I apologize.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Quick question. I'm confused. I was told that they didn't have a website. And now I'm being told that Mrs. Murphy looked that website up. So I'm confused. Do they have a website or do they not have a website?
It's not a website. There are ways on Google to look at a business establishment, even if that establishment doesn't maintain a separate website.
Oh,
So if I was
thank you.
unclear, I apologize.
Thank you for the
That's what I
clarity.
meant
Thank you.
by I looked it up online, but no.
No problem. Thank you.
There
I
was
just,
information available on Google.
thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the clarity. I want to say something positive about this business owner. I feel, first of all, as an alderman, sometimes you have to make tough decisions for everybody. And if, we only had 1 or 2 liquor licenses, this would be an easy decision, right? But I think because we have a lot of liquor licenses, as aldermen, sometimes we have to make the best decision for the entire city. But I want to say something positive about this gentleman right here. I was one of the ones that made a phone call to 911. I don't know if he remembers this or not. But there was a gentleman that was drinking in one of his establishments. And he went to drive off on his car. And I went to stop him because I knew he was drunk. And we couldn't find his keys. And I called the police department and nobody could find his keys. I went back in, I spoke to this gentleman, and he says, I took his keys. I have his keys. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you for that, because this gentleman actually took that gentleman's keys and didn't let him drive off, unbeknownst to the customer, unbeknownst to me, and he turned the keys over to the police department. So I made one of those calls. That's just my personal experience with this gentleman. But once again, as aldermen, we have to make the decision that's best for the city. So I'm torn at this point. I don't know which way to go, but I just want to say something positive about this gentleman right here. So I made one of those phone calls. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Any other?
Yes.
Alderman Smith.
So Mayor, just for clarity, he already has a liquor license. He says he only wants to upgrade. If he upgrades, can there be stipulations put on that, or once he gets it, he can do whatever?
Well, once he has a Class A, he has the same rights as any other Class A license, which is to sell alcohol at whatever way he wishes. He says, one thing, I mean, he's got a right to.
He can
Change and sell shots or whatever.
No, we can put that in a writing that we don't need a hardly, no, we're not even gonna have it, yeah.
You got a Class A license, That's what a Class A license does.
Maybe spend over $400,000
Let me just say this,
Yeah.
before you start saying about how much you spent, you came to me on, Mayor, I need beer and wine. I was hesitant to get that. I accepted that. You came back and says, I need gaming. I can't live my business without gaming. I accepted that. You said I need additional gaming, so you built a section on it, and now you've got not just 6 gaming, you got 12, because you say the Citco is not associated with your other
with the
business.
cantina, right?
So, I mean, and now I know I brought it to council to say for liquor license. But if I don't go by what my heart feels, is I'm doing an injustice to the city, and I'm also doing injustice to myself, because I don't feel comfortable myself putting alcohol in gas stations. And trust me, that's what I feel that we're doing, whether they're sitting down, consuming it, or just taking it off premise and buying it. Alcohol at gas stations, my feeling on that. And I've been having it since I became mayor all these years.
Yeah, only one concern, the new people getting it, and we've been there for forever, so we should be the first one, not the last one.
Because of what you put in place, I got alcohol, beer and wine in every gas station in North Chicago. And I think I brought that to you. I said, once you open that door, it's floods. And I guarantee you, if I give you alcohol, there are gonna be other gas stations there. I'm gonna make a deli over here, and I want my liquor license also. I'm concerned, and I don't know, even if council was to approve it as liquor commissioner, I don't know if I have the authority to have to give it to you. And I don't, but that's, but I don't want to hinder any business, but I also want to make sure the residents of North Chicago are safe. And safety is one of my biggest priorities. And that just, it concerns me when I'm opening up hard liquor to those that, are driving into a gas station. Okay. Any other any other comments? Alderman Jen?
Mike.
He's also not too far from a school. And I've seen a lot of children up at the gas station, so I'm very concerned.
So let me ask, do I have to put this on because of the commissioner, or how does that have to go? And I never have got to this.
You're the chair of the committee of the whole,
Okay,
just like the other chair of the other committees.
so that is something that doesn't necessarily have to go on committee or for council.
For consideration. I mean, the council, the liquor licensing system works this way. Right now, there's not a license available for him to apply for. And so if the council doesn't create a license, there's none to even give him.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't even get to whether he could file an application.
But wait a minute.
Only after a license is created does the liquor commissioner have the opportunity to review the application and the police department does the background check and everything else. You have a question?
So why is we approving a license for a full moon?
We haven't done that.
We
yet.
have.
No, we didn't approve it yet, but they want to put it back on the agenda after you guys have voted for it. No. So you're saying you're gonna bring it back, but why bring it back if we don't have a license and you saying we don't want to create one, just leave it like that?
I don't know whether that's your decision or not.
They just voted it down.
They voted not to waive the
Because
first reading.
Because you kept. And
There
they
has
didn't even
not
want to
been
read it. They did not.
Alderman
It was
Evans,
already brought.
there has not been a
Okay,
substantive
so we
decision
shouldn't even
on
bring it
whether or
back
not.
up next. We should not even bring it back up in June. If you're gonna do that man like that, you shouldn't even bring it back up. Full moon shouldn't even have one. Shouldn't nobody have one. that's where it should stand at. Cause you denied him, one, cause you denied him by saying, well, we don't have one now. This man that came up here before, he built a building just to have a
More liquor.
To have, well, he got a liquor license already. So therefore, he made an establishment right next door and created that. But at the same time, we're gonna say, well, we don't have a license for him and stuff. Just don't have a license for nobody.
We'll
'Cause
consider
we should
that.
just
we'll-
stop, we
we'll
should just
consider
stop.
that too.
I'm like, we should just stop it now.
I'm sorry,
sis-
another question just kind of popped in my head. Majority of our entities with gaming, don't they have like 5 or 6?
I think it's
gaming?
six
How
machines.
how is it that we have one entity that has 12?
Two businesses.
He has considered two
Two.
businesses.
Oh, two, okay.
And I agreed to let him have it that way. Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Coleman.
I have a question for the statistics. Any of those 153 calls, I don't know if we have this data offhand, were any of those alcohol related? Minus the one I did, but were any of those alcohol related?
Bear with me, I'll check right now. Also, that wasn't the total number of incident calls out there. Those were the total ones that I could directly tie to the address. There were other things in the alley and things like that, but you can't attribute that to the business unless you know it's part of the business.
There was 2 that shows intoxicated. And if you're saying one of them for you, then there was additional one.
Unwanted subject is somebody on the property they don't want on the property. So you've got 20 unwanted subjects. They could have been involved with alcohol or not, can't say without looking at the report. We had 1 overdose. You had 2 straight out intoxicated people. You had 7 disturbances and 7 disputes, 1 battery, 1 assault. We don't know if that was attributed to alcohol or not without looking at the reports.
I think it's counting the gas stations from the cantina restaurants. It's never been a single phone call in last year and a half. Chief,
And I keep hearing 100 and something. That's
not,
not.
not even one. I don't know
See-
where this number.
That
See,
wasn't 100 and something.
okay, I still have the floor.
Cantina?
Cantina.
Sure, you have 3 parking spaces there, so I don't know where you're gonna put people coming in. I heard that you have some great sandwiches. I've gone there about 5, 6 times. Your sandwich shop has never been open. So
What time?
around lunchtime.
No, you open every day.
No, you don't, because I've been there. And you have video and you can see me on the video. I've been in uniform and out of uniform.
So if, I'm confused.
3 parking spaces for a restaurant, if we want to call it that. And then on top of that is a restaurant that may or may not open.
So,
And then let's not forget that that corner 2 years back, do we need to talk about all the incidences we had there? Especially with the council members that have been around for a while.
actually, I still have the floor. To be honest, I think everybody knows that that gas station has had many of issues, the club, mobile. But I think when we're talking legal and we're talking factual, we have to distinguish the businesses. If you can distinguish the businesses with gaming machines to actually allow them to have 12, I would need the information from that particular business. I can't punish one business for the other business. So somebody pulling up, getting gas, and someone eating, that's 2 different, I go to the gas station to get gas. I go to the restaurant to eat. And if he's not open, then he's not going to have any calls to the police station because he's not open, and he's not selling liquor because he's not open. Unless I'm mistaken, and he'll be able to sell liquor in the gas station, or he'll only be able to sell liquor in the restaurant. I guess that's the question. Is he only, because we're mixing the 2 up right now, and that's what I'm confused about.
Alderman
When he
Coleman,
gets a liquor license, can he sell liquor in the gas station?
Alderman Coleman, a liquor licensee can't hide their operating history by creating new corporations. The liquor license application looks into the personal history of the manager of the business who's operating the licensed premises. And so no matter how many limited liability corporations or partnerships or anything else you want to call it, we still look at the individual who's running the business, regardless of whether there's a demised wall between the two premises and there,
There's a door also.
there's a
there.
door. It doesn't matter. So
Okay,
the operator's history in one location is germane to another location.
got you. Okay, now that's how we're tying the two together, is by the owner itself. Because he owns both businesses, so if he does bad at one bar, then he can get all of his bars canceled, if that's kind of
That's
what you're
right.
saying.
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that information. Now I'm just asking.
Alderman January.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead. You got one more question? Cause there.
so
there
right
are-
now, the issue is with the owner, not necessarily the establishments or a menu. It has nothing to do with the menu at this point. It has to do with the owner's reputation.
I think it's a little bit of everything, Alderman.
Okay, and I guess,
It all fits as one.
okay. And is there any,
Because the management should be responsible for all of his businesses and what takes place in his establishments.
okay, is there anything that the business owner can do? Because I want to support all businesses to increase his reputation as a liquor operator. Two calls for intoxication and he already has a beer license. That's pretty normal, 2 calls. But is there anything that he can do to help build his relationship and his trust with the city so that we can consider it at a later date even? Or is he never going to be allowed a liquor license in that place? I
Alderman,
guess,
he has liquor already.
okay, hard
I'm just
liquor,
saying-
hard
I'm just
liquor.
saying hard liquor is something I'm hesitant and would not support.
Okay. And the second thing, Mr. Mayor, is I do not agree with not allowing the aldermen to vote. You have said so many times when things go wrong, I didn't make the decision, the alderman made the decision. So I think we should all work together as a team and still allow the alderman to make that decision, not putting it on the agenda. Yes, sir.
Alderman, I have to disagree on that respect because as liquor commissioner, as council, you do have that vote and I have to adhere to it. But when it comes to liquor commissioner, I have, I guess, to some degree, that final say in regards to the safety of the residents of our community.
Yes, sir. I absolutely agree. And I would say that all the aldermen up here would have that same concern. And I'm not even saying that it would be approved. All I'm asking you is to trust your aldermen to make the same decision that you would make to protect the citizens. I'm not saying we're going to vote for it. We're not going to vote for it, but we're all a team up here, and just allow the aldermen the opportunity. You have legal recourse in which, as a liquor commissioner, just because we approve it doesn't necessarily mean you have to issue it. But just allowing your aldermen to voice their opinion through a voting process is all that I beg of you, Mr. Mayor, is don't take our decision-making away as aldermen and trust us to make the right decision.
Thank you,
Or give
Alderman.
us an opportunity.
Thank you. Alderman
Thank
January.
you.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have a very curious question. Sir, can you tell us how your restaurant and your gas station, which are next door to each other, are situated, the design? Do you have an opening that goes from the gas station into the restaurant inside?
No. The only thing is a fire exit. No.
You-
Separate, separate entity, separate corporation.
You do have a door though that goes
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
gas station into the restaurant.
Yeah.
Which is asking. is-
Not open to the public.
Not open to the public, yeah, it's,
Not open to the public.
It's not open to the, but it's open.
but
It was closed. the time
close,
I've been
close.
there.
Okay, because it was open the last time I was there.
Yeah, it's a different business, different corporation, yeah.
Okay, thank you, yeah.
So I think part of it, oh, I'm sorry.
Go
I'm
ahead.
done, thank you.
Yes.
I'm sure part of the concern for that question is if you have kids that come into your store, can they come across if you have the alcohol? That, am I?
No, they have to go outside and re-enter from the,
Well, what I'm saying is because people have been there and that door is open, they have access. So just as a point, making sure that that door is closed so people don't have the access to go from one to the other. I think that's kind of what they're leading to.
no, the hard liquor gonna be behind the counter, only the server gonna serve. It's not gonna be open to, it's not a packaged good, they cannot buy the whiskey or something, no, it's not to take it out. Have to consume right there. So it's, no, there's not gonna be any issue with the kids. We still have to check the IDs, sit-down restaurant, how old they are and everything.
All right, well, I'll take this under consideration and whether to put this out on council or not.
Okay,
All right,
appreciate.
all right. All right, that is the only thing we had for committee of the whole. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Jackson, second by Alderman January, J&J. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
You like that, I went to that, I was gross.
He's like,